We're live. We are the Evil Squid Comics Podcast, episode, or 2.0, episode 8.
8?
8.
See, I've already lost track.
No,
I have to look on the feed.
I can't do numbers.
I don't.
I see you brought the video back, though.
Yeah, video's
I
back.
like it.
The one time I was going to bring something cool and I didn't.
Wow.
Really?
Don't you bring something cool every
But I was going to bring something really cool.
Sorry. Yeah, the cool thing about the video is you can see how many views you get. Apparently on an audio one, you don't get like a tracker of how many people viewed it, which is kind of annoying. So I was like, and you guys seemed kind of disappointed. You seemed kind of disappointed last time that we didn't have the video.
I was a little disappointed.
And the video doesn't really hurt
cool
anything.
Book to show.
Yeah, and of course we didn't use it.
No. Now I don't have anything cool. I'll bring it next time.
Okay.
I'm not quite done with it.
That's fine.
I'll talk about it a little bit, though.
It's all good.
It won't fit on your screen.
I read a lot of stuff. It's funny because I was like, I didn't think I was reading that much, but then my box came.
Did you actually read that whole stack?
Yeah, so then
Oh,
my
Jesus.
box came from DCBS, and I was like, and I tore through like everything in my box in like 5 days.
Wow.
So
If you didn't have this set up so well, I would turn it and pick it up and turn it and just show everybody
It
this
took
cool
me-
stack that you have.
It took me 2 weeks to
Whatever.
read this.
So you're gonna move the stack, huh? The stack that Drew. Oh man, it doesn't work.
it's just
It's a
that.
big stack. And there's
It
a big
is
book
pretty
on the
large.
bottom.
Yes.
There's a big book on the bottom.
Well, now you done screwed it all up. See.
Right? Someone's getting dizzy. They're gonna get all nauseous.
Whoa.
Hurl on their iPhone as they're watching
What
this.
are you showing off?
Probably while they're driving.
Probably. So anyway,
I watched TV too.
You watch TV too?
I watched TV too. That's why I didn't read as much.
Oh, okay.
We finished.
I saw Atomic Blonde.
whoa, that looked good.
It tries to be like this smart spy thing, and it doesn't pull that off. But the action scenes are incredible. I think those are really good. Nice long takes. It's almost like a female John Wick, almost in a way.
Wasn't it by the same guy who directed John Wick?
I don't know. Maybe it was.
I think it was.
Okay, well that would explain it.
Or it's the guy who directed but didn't give me credit for directing it. There's some weird thing with John Wick.
Was there? I don't know. I
But-
don't know that story.
I still
It's
haven't
also
seen
based
the
on a
second-
comic book.
That's what I've heard. One of the guys at work was telling me
I
that.
didn't know it was based on a comic book.
Yes.
It's the Oni series. It's called like Cold City or something. Colder City. I don't know. I never read the comic book.
I attempted to watch Spider-Man: Homecoming and Wonder Woman at the
I was
drive-in.
driving.
It didn't go over very well.
Why is that?
You have to stick something in the little lock thing in your key thing where the door goes in to make it.
Oh,
I don't think so.
the light was.
That's what I
coming on,
read
Right, the interior light
on the
was-
internet.
kept
On
having issues.
my vehicle?
Yeah.
On where? In the lock.
You know how your door comes down
Yeah.
and locks, and there's like a little thing that it goes into. You have to take a
Didn't
key,
think
go in
about
there,
that.
and push that thing down to
Did-
simulate.
If you have the hatchback open, the back open, the interior lights will not go
Yeah,
off
you were
in
telling.
the car.
Or I think I seen Barbara put that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't you
every
just
time.
close it?
Because the kids were in the car
Watching out of that.
watching it out of the back.
Why didn't you just turn it around?
That's what we did for the second movie.
Okay.
Because it's not as comfortable.
It's like me. Whenever I go, I
And-
always take the van and I pop open the back because the kids can lay down and everything and
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
else. It's much more comfortable than
I
turning
get it,
around.
but
So
if you can't see the movie,
And so then, but then there, well,
you do what you can.
here's the other thing. Like,
Here's the
I'm
other
just
thing.
not gonna go to drive-in with kids again because it's too much problem. Because like, so then I tried to. We took chairs, so we sat out.
yeah,
Well, because we have the big vehicle, you have to park in the back,
yeah. So
and it was busy.
uh-huh.
So there's all big vehicles parked in front of us.
Mm.
So when we set our chair down to watch it,
You can't see
all I
it,
see
right.
is a car in front of me.
Yeah.
So we finally moved over because the spot on the other side of us, there was nobody there. So we moved over there. But then the speakers, you can't hear anything out of the speakers.
Yeah.
So
Why? Their speakers.
their speakers are terrible,
Oh, really?
like horrible.
They're
I had
not
it.
all that good, but you can. They do
use your
broadcast
car
over
radio,
the
I
radio.
I know, but we were too far away from the car to hear it, and
Yeah.
then we couldn't hear the I had the speaker like on the arm of my chair, and I still couldn't hear it.
The drive-in always seems like an awesome idea in
And-
my head.
I know.
In
when you get
practice, it's like a
it's-
horrible thing.
No, it's great. I love the drive-in.
Really?
I do. We
And
go
it-
at least once a year, and
Well, the
we
dark,
take the van, and
like you can't see anything when it's dark. Like the Spider-Man movie.
I see just fine
No,
with
no,
it. And
my eyes are bad.
the
Anyway.
digital stuff is great anymore now that they get the digital screens.
Anyway,
the one knock that I do have with it is the sound. The sound is awful.
But if
those
you're-
speakers are crappy, and then you're trying to play the in between with either a car radio or something.
If you
else.
are in your car though, it's awesome because it comes right through your
Yeah,
radio, 'cause
I
they have
usually
their own
read. I
station.
usually in my car. I usually watch it from my car,
Right.
the front seat, and the kids are like in the back, and they can usually see out the window. That's how we did as a kid.
I know.
We
Yeah.
just stayed in the car.
I know.
But yeah, now we always take the van and we pop open the van and we sit out with the chairs and I don't know, maybe
So-
I just maybe pick the nights where it's not all that busy or something like that. But I mean, if
I
you do it
saw,
right,
like-
it's just great.
I saw like a third of Spider-Man Homecoming, like not like the first third, the middle third, or the end third, but like a third sporadically throughout it. And then we watched like the first 30 minutes of Wonder Woman, and then we were uncomfortable and tired, so we left.
But then again, I also have a rule when it comes to the drive-in: don't ever go to see a movie that you really are excited for. Either.
There you
Absolutely.
go.
So
See, I was
you
really
know,
excited. I was finally
you
going
know,
to see Spider-Man.
that's exactly right. You
Yeah,
know.
no.
We went for like typical popcorn flicks this year. You know, King Arthur, Fast and the Furious, and I can't remember what the last one was, but I mean it was great
Oh
because
my God,
I
you stayed
could.
for 3 movies?
I didn't stay for the third one.
Oh, okay.
We've stayed for the first two, and when the third one came up, we kind of looked and it was like, that's why I don't remember what it was. You know, and it was like, yeah. Especially at that point in time too, because we seen it like towards the beginning of the summer, I think, or something. Whenever those came out, what that, you know, the end of May or something. But I mean, hell, the damn movies didn't even get started till 9 o'clock. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean we left like towards the beginning of Wonder Woman, and we got home at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I don't like being out that late anymore either.
I didn't think it would bother me that bad, but I
It did.
really got tired.
Kids
Like
are
I
old,
wasn't
man.
really tired
Yeah.
until Barbara's like, "Do you want to go? Because I'm tired." I'm like,
okay,
"Hey, I'm tired too."
Let's go for it.
Let's go. I've had a horrible evening. I'm ready to go home.
Ready to go.
I finally watched Blade Runner also. The
You've never
original.
seen Blade
I
Runner?
had
You've never seen Blade Runner?
Well, I can't say that now. I did see it over the weekend.
Before this weekend,
But
you had
before
never
this
seen
weekend, I
Blade
had never
Runner?
seen
What?
Blade Runner.
What?
So I had told my dad that because
What did
Blade
you think
Runner,
of Blade Runner 30 years late?
You know, Blade Runner, what is it, 2049 is coming out, you know,
Yeah.
here soon. And I told my dad that. I was like, yeah, I'd like to I may want to see that. But I was like, I've never seen the first. And he's like, what? So he, like, got it for me, and
That was like,
we watched it. So
When
or my daughter and I watched it. My oldest, Kayla, and I
Okay.
did.
what did you think about it?
I didn't think it was too bad for a movie holding up over 30 years or whatever.
Dude,
But
that movie is so awesome.
but the worst thing I think was it felt, you know, very 80-ish, you know, 80s, I guess, type things because of the soundtrack. The soundtrack, if that soundtrack would have been different, I think it could have held up to almost anything. You know,
Which
here over the
version did
years.
you watch? 'Cause there's like
50
30.
different
There is a ton of them, and I couldn't tell you.
30
Did you have the voiceover?
So a voiceover, not
Yeah,
that I
where Harrison
remember,
Ford's like talking through the whole movie.
not that I remember.
That's what I like.
Well, I don't know that I've ever seen that version.
So that's the very original one. That's the one you have seen.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. It's
Yeah.
been a while since I've watched it. But
We saw it at Cinemas East when they played like the director's cut back in like the mid to late 90s, didn't we? We like
I think so.
Yeah. In the
So, like,
theater.
But I did not think it was too bad. I mean, for what it is, you know, you got to keep in mind that
for what it is the greatest science fiction movie ever made.
Ever.
See, I don't know about that. But,
Oh my
but,
gosh,
but there's a
dude.
problem though too, is that I'm watching
Yeah.
it 30 years later, where you know, part of the thing is that people have taken from that movie. I'm sure throughout everything, you know, and things.
Maybe.
Especially
I really
from
thought the
clothes
strongest thing about it was the script. I thought it was really well written. I think a lot of the script still holds up.
I would agree with Ellen on that. You know, it's
it
just
has some
not
really
it-
great
it's,
lines.
It's not. It's more of an intellectual type of thing.
It
I
is
think
very
somewhat too.
intellectual, yeah.
You know, there's not a whole hell of a lot of action in it, which
No,
I was.
just towards the end.
Which kind of surprised me. And even towards the end, it's very poorly staged action, I thought, in some cases.
Yeah.
You know, at least for today's, you know, type things, too. Of
not
course, my
action.
daughter did get a kick out of it when it displays up there at the very beginning and says it's like, I don't know, something of 2019.
Yeah.
You know,
Is
oh,
that-
right, 2 years away.
That's what
So-
I was gonna ask you because
so-
I didn't remember because I saw I finally saw the trailer for 2049 and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, when did the first one take place? Because I couldn't remember. Like,
2019.
Okay.
So,
And by the way, like I only kind of half saw it because I was at the drive-in.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
What does?
The 2049 Blade Runner.
Really?
It doesn't look good.
A lot of people think it looks really good.
Really? I
You
don't
were in
know.
the minority.
Well, I saw half of it and heard half of it, so maybe I didn't give it.
Blade
my full
Runner
attention.
2049 trailer?
Yeah, the
You only saw
trailer.
half of the trailer?
Yeah, at the drive-in.
Oh, okay.
Like it was on, and I was like half paying attention to
Half
it.
paying attention.
And then I paid.
And then you
attention.
thought it was horrible.
Yeah, what I saw.
off
It didn't look
half the trailer.
good. Okay, so I have a story. When I bought my very first DVD player ever, I bought like 3 movies: Blade Runner, Wizard of Oz,
Matrix.
and no, I don't
That
think
was
Matrix.
mine.
I don't know that it was out at that point.
Okay. Anyway,
But I remember distinctly I got Blade Runner and Wizard of Oz.
Pulp Fiction.
I think Austin Powers, maybe. I don't remember. I remember those 2.
Wow.
But that was one. But I mean, there were probably 20 DVDs to pick from when I bought my first DVD
That's probably
player.
true. Not a whole lot of selection.
Maybe
probably.
30.
I was actually surprised that Blade Runner was one of them to choose from.
But
then when it first
that
came
was
out.
one of the first movies that I ever bought.
Well, I think I really liked Blade Runner when I first saw it, and when I saw it like when I was like in my 20s or early or late teens, I thought it was really good because it felt like because you got a lot more of it than you did when you were a kid because it has some very kind of philosophical type themes that you don't always catch on to, and I really liked it. But I think over the last 20 years since then, it's taken on this sort of mystique, prestige, and I think it's almost gotten out of hand. Like, yeah, it was really good, but people act like it's like the second coming, and it's kind of gotten put on this pedestal.
I really like the visuals.
Yeah, it is really
and
cool.
that was one of the things my daughter and I were even talking about. The visuals in that film, I thought still held up here.
Because they didn't try to do anything super crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so then another thing.
Another thing.
I finally watched the movie Darkman. I've never seen Darkman.
Yes, you have.
With Liam Neeson. No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
No, I haven't.
I know you saw it because when you saw it in the theater, you came home and told me about it.
I don't think so, dude.
You said it was so cool, dude. This dude like picks up his leg and like starts shooting a bunch of people. Isn't that Darkman?
Yeah, but that wasn't me.
That was you.
I
I only have one older brother.
I don't remember ever seeing Darkman.
You're
Ever.
old. You can't even remember movies you've seen.
Like, I didn't remember the plot. I didn't remember anything.
Well, who would remember anything about that movie?
That
I don't
movie,
remember that movie at all, but I know I've seen it.
That movie was like good. It's like it was like I
That's
think
what you
it
said
came
30
out
years
in
ago.
'90. It felt almost like a late '80s, early night like RoboCop feel to it,
Yeah.
like just kind of cheesy whatever action. But dude, I really liked it. And then at the very end, because Sam Raimi.
I'm glad Don is. I had this theory.
Sam Raimi directed it.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Sam Raimi.
Yes.
And at the very end of the movie, because like he can make faces,
Yes.
like and he disappears.
Masks and things.
He's wearing, well, he's not wearing. It's Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Like he disappears into the crowd.
Right,
with
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
No, this is good because I have this theory that if I get old enough, I'm gonna forget the things I've seen. I can watch them again like I've never seen them before. You've
And
just
you're like,
proven my
wow.
theory. It's true.
Dude. I don't ever remember ever seeing.
You saw it in the
Darkman.
theater.
I thought it was like it looked terrible when it came out, and
You
I
saw it in
never
the
saw
theater.
it.
I had
And
the
you
comic.
told me about it.
Do you? I want to read them now.
I said I had it. I don't know. I may. I still might. I'll have to go take a look.
Do you have all of them? Do you
Well,
have the
no,
movie
no,
adaptation?
just the movie one. The
Because
movie.
they did like a.
It was like a 4-part miniseries.
There's like
or
sequels to
something.
that, you know.
So,
There is?
yes.
There's like 2 and 3
Oh, there's a
and maybe
couple of
4.
them. Yeah.
Really?
At least
Yeah.
3.
I can only say that I've only seen the first. That I remember.
They only get worse, I think. Sam Raimi didn't direct anything.
Well, that was kind of the charm and the magic of
I was
the
really
first
into
one with
Sam Raimi at some point. Because Darkman, then he did that Quick and the Dead. Because he had all that crazy camera work.
Did he do the Quick and the Dead?
Yeah.
Oh, be damned.
Because
Yeah,
he
because
was
the
one of
Quick and
those
the
guys
Dead was really
who moved
weird
the camera a lot.
Well, and had interesting visuals.
Yeah, and I really got into Evil Dead 2. That was super cool. Like in that kind of same era of my youth.
Oh,
And then
dude,
Quick
Evil
and the
Dead
Dead
2 is like one of my favorite
And the Quick and
movies.
Dead came out, and like he just had very interesting camera work that I really got
Yeah.
into.
I love Evil Dead 2.
I agree. It's
Yeah,
good.
it's okay.
That, I love the little ash. Isn't that the little ashes with the pitchforks?
Yeah. Well, I think you're mixing up Army of Darkness.
I was gonna say Army of Darkness is some funny thing.
I think Evil Dead 2 has the little ashes too, but I don't know. They kind of.
I don't know. I know that Army of Darkness has the little ones.
Yeah.
Because Army of Darkness I love.
I think it's got to be Evil Dead 2 because I have the action figure and it has the little dude with the pitchfork. And he even has like a little.
Like I said, I can't remember. I have Evil Dead 2 on DVD as well, but I can't remember the exact details on it. Or I used to anyway.
Well, I can't remember where I was when we last spoke, but I finished the first season of Daredevil. I finished the second season of Daredevil.
I'm sorry.
And, dude.
Are they pretty good? Okay.
Oh my god, there's in the second. Have you watched it?
I watched the first episode of the second season and I said, yeah, I didn't like the first season enough to sit through another season of this. So.
Okay, well, I really liked it. I think it's episode.
I watched the first episode of the first season. That's all I've done.
I thought Daredevil was good, and we're like almost through Jessica Jones, and not so hot on that one.
People love that. I watched the first episode and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's so dark.
It's so dark.
I just wasn't into it.
And it's like, it really, as I'm watching Preacher right now, the Purple Man is like freaking Preacher. It's like the same thing, because he can tell anybody to do anything and they do it. Like he uses the voice. Anyway, but I think it's episode 3 of Daredevil season 2. The Punisher, like, there's a biker gang across the street, and the Punisher's up in like the building, I think, and he blows up their motorcycles. So the whole gang like runs in. This scene is amazing, dude. It's like a 5 or 10 minute long fight scene of Daredevil, like going from the top of the building, beating up all of the bikers as he goes down the stairway. It's all one shot. Like there are no cutaways. It's freaking insane. And you're sitting there watching this, and like Barbara looks over, she goes, "This is all one shot," and I'm like, "Oh my god, it is." I mean, it's like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But anyway, I don't know. I don't have a lot of high hopes for Luke Cage, because I've heard
that one was good.
Have you? Okay.
Iron Fist is the one that's supposed to be
Iron
horrible.
Fist is supposed to be horrible, but people have been talking about the Defenders. I think that it's supposed to be pretty decent.
It's decent. Is what I've heard.
Okay.
I think my brother even watched some of that one and said it was okay.
I think Daredevil, the first season, started out really slow, but I think once you get like at least halfway through it, I think it really picks up with like the Kingpin, and it gets really cool. And then what I really liked about the second season is it starts out with the Punisher, and then transitions into Elektra, and then it also ties the Kingpin back into it, so you have like all of them. You know what I mean? It's like all kind of together. So it's not like the Punisher through the whole season. You get him a little bit, then a little bit, then a little bit, and then you get Elektra pretty much through the whole thing, and then Kingpin. I don't know, kind of. I really liked both of the Daredevil seasons.
Yeah. I don't know. I have such high standards for television now. Like, I think there's like a few shows in the last 5 years that have just done the whole season-long storyline so well that I feel like if you can't do it that well, just forget it. And those shows are like Justified was really good at that. Like it had like a season-long thing with an interspersed. It didn't even feel episodic. It just felt like one long movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worked somehow every episode. It was just perfect. Breaking Bad was that way too. I mean, it just worked. I mean, it was seamless. You know what I mean? And then The Walking Dead, I think, does a really good job with that too. I know some people think it drags out, but I don't think so.
I don't either.
I think it just works really well. And so I mean, if you can't do it that well and you want to do a season-long storyline like Daredevil and those Marvel shows try to do, you got to do better, I think.
I don't know, man. When I get bored and lazy, I just like to sit in front of the TV and chill out. So, I mean, I can watch almost anything.
Yeah, see, I just don't watch much TV, and I think that's my problem. You know, when I do have those slower times, I end up reading whatever Drew gave me.
It just doesn't hold my focus. Like, I'll like watch it, I'll start getting bored, and I'll start playing with my phone, or start playing with my iPad, and I just don't pay attention.
Yeah.
I have to. It's like it doesn't draw me in enough if it's not good.
Like I said, I think the Jessica Jones, I think it's dragging, like, because it's like the Purple Man, like the whole thing, and it's like the same thing kind of over and over again. And the other thing is I'm not as familiar with like those characters. Like I'm familiar with Jessica Jones because I read the Alias series.
Yeah.
And then I read like the Avengers with like her and Luke Cage, and I mean I understand what they're trying to do, but I mean that's like my experience with Luke Cage is like only in Bendis' Avengers. Like I've never read any of the stuff from like the 70s and so like Patsy Walker or Patsy the
I'm guessing
Hellcat.
It's gonna be more like Bendis', not the 70s stuff.
Well, yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
But what I'm saying is, I mean, like with Daredevil, I kind of knew what was coming because I'm very familiar with all that stuff, like all those characters. Like I knew it.
And they are taking characters from the 70s on that one.
But with this one, I mean, I'm not as grounded. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not as familiar with it, which is kind of cool in one way, and it's kind of not cool in the other way. But anyway,
I don't know. They just need to up their game. It's not good enough.
well, do you think they're gonna up their game with all the middle world stuff?
I don't know. We'll see.
It'd be interesting to see. I was reading something about how like the
Other than
is it
I haven't been impressed with too many of the Netflix original series, to be honest with you. Other than Orange Is the New Black.
see, I've never
And that
watched
last season, that wasn't even very
Stranger
good.
Things.
Stranger Things was good. But it
Is-
was a tight 8 episodes.
It was.
That
But it was
helped.
good.
Yeah.
It felt like it was a long movie.
Only, what, 30 minutes in?
Yeah, I know, right?
I didn't sign up for the movie pass.
It sounds like, yeah, you told me about that. How's that
The
work?
movie
I haven't
pass.
gotten it.
No.
It's supposed to come next week, I think. You haven't heard of the movie pass?
See, we should do
You
a
get this
podcast
card.
about
It's
movies
$10
and
a
TV.
month, and you can go see as many movies in the theater as you want.
I did hear about that one. So you signed up for that?
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago.
Sweet.
I'm still waiting for my card.
So it may actually show up and then
Yeah, they said between September
do
10th
real
and
theaters and
15th
accept
or
it and
something.
everything?
Yeah, it works on all the local theaters.
Okay. But as soon as it works when you get there. okay,
Yeah, I have to actually try it a few
Yeah,
times.
let me know how that works.
So, yeah.
We should do a podcast about TV.
That's what we just did.
Because I actually can talk about that stuff.
Hey,
for
I
some
can
reason,
too. Wow.
For some reason, that stuff sticks in my brain better than this stuff does. I think I'm going to do a pretty good job this week, though.
Alright, well, let's see.
I hope.
Why don't you start us out?
All right. Well,
No other news?
I don't have any.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Do
Just
you have
making sure.
news?
No, shoot. Hell no.
Okay, so
So, a button.
did I bring them all?
I don't know, your stuff's all mixed up, dude.
I know. I didn't have time to.
Captain.
Maybe
Why is
we
there
should
an
make
astonishing
somebody else
X-Men
go.
book? What are you going to talk about first? Commandy?
Yeah. Because
I read
didn't buy that stupid thing.
The
What?
Superior Foes of Spider-Man.
oh, you're gonna start.
Yeah, what the hell?
Apparently
So
you're too
while you're
slow.
organized, go
You're
for it. And I'm also close to
Don
the
talked
camera,
about
so-
this last podcast.
He did,
This is
didn't he?
like
Yeah, but now you
teaching-
can actually see the picture.
Did you read all of it?
Yes. Did you
Why
think
you
like I
brought
was
it?
going to?
I read like a couple issues, but I'm just gonna.
Well, no, I don't know. He was like saying he didn't finish that. I didn't
He
know.
did finish that. He
I
said the
finished
next one
that.
he didn't finish.
I
That's
did-
why he didn't bring it.
That's why I didn't bring
Are
it.
you in the same room?
No, I'm not.
Everything I brought, I finished today.
Okay, cool.
They're finished.
I'm-
Have you finished everything that you brought?
I'm very I'm
Okay.
very interested in
Everything in this pile I've read as well.
what you have to say about that.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You have to be in the right mood for it, but it's because of the fact that it's all tongue in cheek. You know, it's all just sitting there, just kind of throwing things. And I'm probably not as the best for reading something like this,
Right.
because of the fact that it's making all sorts of references to things that happen probably in the Spider-Man universe as well. A little
Yeah,
bit here
but-
and there to get some of them. It still doesn't affect it overall because
Right.
of the fact that you're still, just moving on from one thing to another. But there's no real like coherent story there.
It's like
whatsoever. So it's just like it's almost like a one shot that they drug out into 12 comics.
Yeah, it's like a
Like,
crime
So-
heist book where they just keep double crossing.
yeah, lots of double-crossing here and there stuff. But the main character, the main one, the Boomerang or whatever, is just a total ass.
Yes.
So, I mean, it makes it sometimes a little difficult. I actually found the more enjoyable parts when they're actually focusing on some of the others and telling their backstories or whatever the heck else.
Yeah.
Like the female Beetle and, Overdrive or something like that.
Right, like Overdrive, I didn't even know who he is. I
Yeah.
think he was just made for this book.
Probably
'cause
so.
I've never even heard
I would
of
assume
him.
the female Beetle probably was too, right? Or whatever? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I think so.
Okay. But like I said, when those type of things happen in some of those discussions, when they're actually talking about more of the group, I found it a little bit more enjoyable than when they were focusing on just Boomerang and the stupid shit he was doing, type stuff. It was kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, this guy gets what he's deserving, and whatever the heck else. But overall, it is what it is, It's got good art. It's pretty funny, It's Nick
Yeah.
Spencer writing, so yeah. But I don't quite, like I said, I didn't quite get all of maybe some of the jokes
Right.
that they were trying to shoot there. But overall, it was you get the majority of them. I did like the fact that they kept like getting some of the other guys, the Owl and Chameleon or whatever the heck
Uh-huh.
else, to kind of fight each other or double cross.
And Tombstone's
different
in it a lot,
And
too.
Tombstone's in there a lot because
Yeah.
that's.
It's
Spoiler alert, that's
Yeah.
Beetle's dad. So, but
The girl Beetle's dad is Tombstone.
it's
Yeah.
Tombstone, yes.
From Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Tombstone?
yeah, not Tombstone.
Yeah.
Alright.
Did you like the Doctor Doom portrait gag through the whole thing?
Oh,
The
yeah.
whole painting?
Yeah, the whole painting thing. Yes, that was actually. I liked the backstory that he gives a bit about that too, or something, on the fact that he was drinking too much or something like that, and took his face off for a
Right.
minute, and that's what the artist saw, and then paints it. And he lets his guard down essentially for a second, type thing, and then he sees it afterward and he fries the artist and goes, I think I'm going to keep this. So,
Well, if you like that, you will probably like what I can't
The
think.
Fix.
The Fix.
the
Because
fix.
it's two horrible characters that they're cops, And
No, really.
they're dirty cops and they're on the take, but they go through stupid shit. It's funny. I mean, it's the same team.
It's the same team.
Yeah, and I don't know how many issues it's been. Maybe I think it's been on hiatus or something. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's been like maybe I'll have to dig them up and bring them if you're interested in reading. More
Yeah, I
about
might have to check some
that
of
team.
But
I think that book is not tied into anything. It's like
Yeah.
its own thing. So you don't have any backstory that
Backstory.
you have to worry about. But
well, like I said, overall with this one, I liked it whenever they were doing the team, dysfunction versus just the stupidity of one character. Those parts were kind of like, oh gosh, that kind of drug. But when they got back to the whole team dynamics or lack of thereof,
right.
that's when it was probably at its best
Okay.
and funny. So
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
yeah.
So, I was interested to see what you would think.
Did you read this one?
I'm not going to.
You don't?
Right now. I can read it on my app if I want to.
Ah.
Well, then read it on your app.
Yeah.
We could do the.
You don't like the physical
No, I do.
stuff anymore?
I just have the app.
So we're throwing up there. Come on.
Okay, I'll do the Commandy challenge. I read 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's all that's out. I think it's a 12 issue.
This is chapter 2.
That's what I said. 2 through 8.
2 through 8.
2 through 8.
Are you in the same room?
I'm not listening to him.
Okay, so are you aware of the concept of the Commandy challenge?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, the concept of the Commandy challenge is that each month, one team, a writer and an artist, they do a Commandy story, and they leave him in a
strange
horrible
predicament
situation, and the next team has to come in and somehow get him out of that, create a story, and then leave him in a horribly impossible predicament, and then the next team comes in. So it's basically, it's just a bunch of teams of writers and artists that are telling a Commandy story that has started, that they're carrying through.
Huh.
I liked it. I like a lot of the teams, like that one right there, the Danda, Carlos Danda.
Yeah.
I love his artwork. That's a really cool story. There's some of them are like hit and miss, but I mean, the teams on them are really cool. That's Willingham and Ivan Heiss, I guess is how you say his name.
Yeah.
That did that one. But I mean, if you like Commandy,
Is that like Bill winning?
Yeah. The guy just fables.
Yeah.
yeah, it's very Kirby. Obviously, it's the last month was Kirby's 100th birthday, if he was still alive. So it's very obviously Kirby-ish. It's got all the elements, but then they come in with new things, and there's been a couple. Like most of them are fairly.
Oh, that one looks kind of cool.
Seem like fairly easy to like get out of, but there's been a couple that I was like, oh my god, how are they going to do this? But it's just I guess everybody's kind of tribute to Jack Kirby and just the crazy, wacky nonsense that was Commandy, like the series.
But apparently none of the people who wear their Kirby influence on their sleeve, we wouldn't get any of those people to actually do this book, because that would be...
See, that's the thing too. I mean, I think that...
Why the hell did you not get Tom Sholey?
Yeah.
Eric Larson, Andy Kuhn,
Oh, I know.
Phil Hester.
Maybe they asked him and they didn't want to do it. I don't know.
I seriously doubt it. It's all the people who work for DC Comics.
Okay.
Not the people who actually, put Kirby on a pedestal and actually use his influence in their work. No, none of those people. It's all these people who are on DC's payroll doing the stinking book. It's ridiculous.
Is this like a remake then or something like this?
I'm really fired up about it.
Okay.
That's why I didn't buy that book. I'm like, really? You're doing a Commandy challenge.
It's
12
got-
issues. You didn't get any of those people? None? Not a single one? Seriously?
It's got your man, Steve Rude.
I like Steve Rude.
Steve the Dude Rude.
I don't find him very Kirby-esque.
The artwork is not very Kirby-esque.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Whatever. I didn't realize I was going to rub you the wrong
No,
way.
I just was so annoyed because I was so excited. I was like, this sounds like the coolest idea ever. And I saw the creators. I'm like, really? That's who you came up with? Not that there's anything wrong with those creators. They're all good creators. But if you were making a Commandy challenge, are those the people you would pick?
Probably not. I don't know.
Are any of them the people you would pick? Maybe a couple?
I don't remember who did the very first issue. Well, there's
I'm not saying it's total miss, but
right.
Giffin's on there. Jurgens.
Jurgens Giffen.
Jurgens more of a Neil Adams guy, I think. And they got Neil Adams
Neil
on
Adams
there.
did one.
Like, Neil Adams? Really?
I'm not a
I
big,
like Neil Adams, but if I'm doing a Kirby book, he's not who I think of.
Well, maybe they were trying to do something different where they were doing non-Kirby.
They're doing a
people.
Commandy challenge. Why would you not get people who...
Maybe they wanted to see other people's takes on it. I don't know. Just
it's
because
a tribute book.
Just,
I don't know. Doesn't make any sense.
just because you don't draw like Kirby, or
I'm not saying
or
you have to draw like him, but I mean,
but
people who...
but the people you named off are very heavily influenced by Kirby. I mean,
They are.
Scioli is like, I mean, he's like not. I don't mean this in a bad way. He's like a Kirby.
He's very influenced by Kirby.
He's very
styles.
influenced.
Yeah.
Like he's a Kirby copier. Like kind of, sort of. And I love Tom Scioli and I love his stuff. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I mean he even says it.
Yeah.
That he copies Kirby.
So it's people who try and take the fundamentals of Kirby and they try to incorporate that in the stuff they create. Why would you not get those people to do the Commandy?
But the story is very Kirby-esque. The story is very Commandy,
That's
very
fine.
Kirby-esque. But I mean, they're obviously that, you know. I've been listening to a podcast on Kirby,
Yeah.
like because it was whatever. But it's very thorough. Like it goes through his whole career. And I mean, it just when you obviously you think about it, you know that Kirby like created like basically everything. You
In
know?
Marvel Universe.
And so everything is like basically a tribute to Kirby. So, but what I'm saying is like these guys weren't around when Kirby was around. They can still love Kirby and want to be part of this project
Sure.
to pay tribute to Kirby. So, but I mean, so I understand what you're saying, but I don't get how that would so piss you off. Yes, that would be awesome to see Eric Larson draw that book.
No, here's what pissed me
and,
off. Is because
and
I
Tom
said...
Scioli draw that book, and Andy Kuhn draw that book, and Andy Parks or whoever you said. Yes, that would be awesome. But I think for what it is, I really enjoyed it. But I'm a big Commandy fan, so
I like Commandy a lot too. I was super excited when they announced it. I was like, ooh, a Commandy challenge. That sounds really cool. And then I look at all the creative teams. I'm like, really? This is who you came up with? Not that there's anything wrong with those people as creators. Just if I was putting the project together, it didn't have anybody who I would have picked.
right,
Like, I could have a list of like 12 people. None of them are on it.
right. Well, and I kind of was excited about it because it's people that you don't normally see drawing Kirby books, so it was cool to see their rendering or their take on the characters. So I enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But oh well. I mean, you can hate the book, or
I don't hate it. I just
no,
think
I
it's
know.
a
I
missed
mean,
opportunity.
You can call it a missed opportunity. I see it as a cool opportunity because I get to see all these other people that are drawing the Kirby characters, the Kirby world. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's obvious. I think it goes 12 issues, so it's not over. But it was really cool. Like I said, there were a couple that were really, really cool cliffhangers. There were a couple that were kind of like so. The other thing in the back of each one of them, that at the preceding issue, they have the writer or the artist talk about what they had and how they wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like the cliffhanger and like kind of their process. So it's kind of a cool little thing in the back where they have like a page where they talk about it. But,
Sure.
But anyway, I enjoyed it for what it is. It was a good read. Like I said, I really like Carlos de Anda. I thought his issue was really strong. I was really looking forward to the Jurgens one because it's Dan Jurgens and Klaus Janson. But I don't know, that one really, that wasn't one of my favorite ones. Not that it was terrible, I thought it would be better than it was. And I'm not a big Steve Rude fan, like you are.
Yeah.
But I thought that story was really good. I thought the art was really good. I mean,
Oh,
I haven't been
Steve
disappointed.
Rude's a great artist.
I haven't been disappointed in
And
any
he's
of
probably
them.
a little Kirby-esque, I would say, but
Yeah.
I mean, he's got those clean lines, kind of like Kirby has.
Yeah.
Nice thick lines, but yeah, I don't know why they gave it's too bad that the people at the Commandy license have a vision.
That would be Dido, Dan Dido.
And Dan Didio did that whole OMAC series with Giffen and
Mhm.
him, and that was awesome.
The Giffen one, that series, it did look a lot Kirby.
I
mean,
know.
It was drawn like Kirby.
It was really cool.
Yeah, so.
So obviously they can do it.
Are you familiar with Commandy? You're probably not familiar with Commandy.
Not at all.
Okay, so basically, for you, Commandy was Jack Kirby did a book called Commandy, the last boy on Earth. So it's
Ooh, there's what
it
you're
was
talking
done
about,
in like the early
talking about
the
death traps and whatever the heck else.
What, like 77 or something? 70s.
Sure, 70s.
I think when he went back to
before
DC.
you were born.
Yeah.
But it's basically a post-apocalyptic that was done in the 70s, and
It was kind of like Planet of the Apes.
it's kind of like Planet of the Apes, because it came out around that time.
And I think he was going to do Planet of the Apes series, and then he kind of said he couldn't get the rights or something.
Right.
So
What
he
happened
spun it
was
off
he
into
was working for
Commandy.
DC, and Marvel got the rights for the Planet of the Apes. So this was DC's jab at Planet of the Apes. But so he's the last boy, and everybody else on Earth are anthropomorphic. They're like talking dogs, talking tigers, and it's just it's like Mad Max world, but with animals, and Commandy's the only human left, and he's just bouncing around from adventure to adventure, basically he'll go from one group to the other and try to escape and try to figure out why he's the only boy left or whatever. But it's really cool, like late 70s Kirby art, just kind of sci-fi out there, wacky kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like as a series.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, there's your backstory on Commandy.
Sweet. Great.
I'll forget it.
So
as
glad.
soon as I
Yeah, I know.
got it.
You don't remember. Who was
It
that?
does look pretty cool though, some of the art
Yeah.
and stuff.
Oh yeah, Palmiotti and Connor. Which, never mind.
Which
Yeah,
one?
because
I want to hear about that.
Alright,
Have
so
you never read that?
now here's the story. So I used to buy them in single issues, but it came out like once a year. That's a really bad way to read a comic book series.
Yeah.
And so I finally stopped buying it, and then I always meant to get it and read it, and I just never did. Well, I checked on Amazon. This like 350-page book is like $20 retail. It was like $11, free
Nice.
shipping. I'm like, how can you go wrong? So I ordered it, and I burned through it
Well,
in
you
a couple
could go
days.
wrong if it was terrible.
Well, I'd already read part of it.
So you had some idea.
I knew.
that-
So I really like Charles
Well,
Burns'
it's Charles
art.
Burns. It's not
He has
terrible,
this really
but-
cool, like, black and white, very cool style. But this is a crazy book. It's very 70s, like, kind of drug culture type of stuff. Like, it's about this group of high school kids, and they kind of focus on a couple of different characters, but there's this thing going around called the bug. It's like a sexually transmitted disease or whatever. But it makes it, like, it affects everybody differently, but like one guy grow like a little mouth like in his neck and it like talks. Another girl, her skin like sheds or whatever. So it's like this STD that these kids are passing around, and once they get it, they like go out to live in the woods. They're like ostracized from society. You know what I mean? And so there's all these kids out in the woods, and the rest of the kids who don't have it, they're all like smoking dope and having sex and just living it up or whatever. So it's kind of like, I'm sure it's way deeper than I like took it, because I think it's about like being a teenager and alienation and just how you don't fit in, all that stuff, and how sex and drugs are like these things that are adults tell you are bad or whatever. I'm sure it's all that stuff wrapped in there. I'm not sure I got all of that. I got like sort of little ripples of that, but I don't know that I totally got it. But it's really cool. The art is very awesome. I've always liked Charles Burns' art, and it is a story. The only thing I didn't like about it, it kind of jumps around a lot. Like you'll in time, like you'll jump around, and you'll jump back, and there's some of the transitions were kind of rough, and it was kind of hard to follow. You had to be like, okay, so are we like before this or after this? And it jumps around characters a little bit too, and so that makes it a little more confusing. So, but it's cool. I mean, it's definitely trippy. It's weird.
You should be used to that with like Pulp Fiction and even Stray Bullets.
It's true. And Stray Bullets made a lot more sense when I sat down and read the Uber Owls edition, because you could like get it all at once. But yeah, reading that month to month, you didn't quite see all the connections.
When did this come out? Like when?
I think it was coming out like in the 90s.
90s?
For like 10 years, like an issue a year or something.
Okay.
But it's definitely not for kids. A lot of sex, a lot of nudity.
Charles Burns is the one that did like that East Out and those other three.
Oh yeah,
books.
X'd Out and
X'd Out.
yeah.
So is this like tied into that at all? Or
No,
is
it's
this
not tied
its own
in.
Thing?
It's its own thing. But if you like those, you'd probably like this because it's the same kind of surreal, kind of weird stuff.
Right.
It's not quite as surreal as those. Those are more like a David Lynch movie or something.
Yeah.
This is more like Twin Peaks, David Lynch, where it like kind of makes sense, you know, like there's a story and there's characters, but yet it's not like Highway. What's it called?
Oh,
Lost Highway, or what's the other one? David Lynch, the one with the girls.
Yeah.
Blue something.
Damn it. Not Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet makes sense.
Yeah. No, Lost Highway, and then there was another one,
yeah,
like
you know,
right around that time.
Yeah,
it was just like,
that was after that.
what the? I loved it, but
It was like Hollywood something, wasn't it? Like a Boulevard, or I don't know. I can't remember the name. Anyway,
I think I actually have it on my DVR, and I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it had.
But this is more coherent a little bit, and it makes sense. But I really liked it. I was glad I finally read it.
I can't believe I'm a David Lynch fan, and I can't think of the name of that movie.
Yeah.
Because they both came out like one right after the other.
Yeah, they were like right after the other.
It's got that girl that was in The Ring and King Kong.
Naomi Watts.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Naomi Watts.
Yeah, Naomi Watts. She's in it.
Correct.
I remember going to see Lost Highway with you at the theater.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Lost Highway?
No.
You're not a David
But
Lynch.
I'm not a David Lynch fan.
Oh my god. We just looked at each other and went, what the fuck just happened? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, did you understand what happened? And you're like, no. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that movie is so, it's like two movies. Like, it's like this movie and then bam, it just completely changes. And it's just so crazy and wild and out there. It's just like insane.
Yeah.
I love it. It's
Well, the
like
next
one, of my
one, the one
favorite
that we can't
movies,
think the
but-
name of, was so annoying because it was like, because it was kind of making sense, and you felt like they were just about to start to reveal like what was going on, and then the movie takes a complete like U-turn and just goes crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like you're almost there. Like you almost
Yeah,
taste, you can almost taste like the closure, like a clue or something being revealed, and right as you can taste it, it explodes into chaos, and nothing makes sense at all for the rest of the movie. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
dang, I was almost there. Man. You almost, had
Almost
me.
there. Anyway, have you ever seen Blue Velvet?
No.
No, that's a good movie.
Oh my god,
That's worth watching. Same with Wild at Heart. I mean, that one is
Wild at
crazy.
Heart.
Those two are pretty solid, and they
Yeah.
don't make crazy sense.
Have you ever seen Dune?
Yes.
Best movie ever.
Elephant Man.
Really?
David Lynch directed Elephant
The
Man.
one with
John
Only one
Hurt.
elephant.
yeah,
Man.
John Hurt there. Yeah.
That was like a mainstream movie though. That wasn't like crazy wacky.
That is very true. I think I did see that back in when I was probably.
Did you ever
like-
see Eraserhead?
No, I've watched part of it. Like I think I have it, or I did at one point on like my DVR, but I never sat down and finished watching it. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. Oh, I tried to find it forever. Like when
Yeah.
I first got into David Lynch, and I was like, you could never find it anywhere.
Yeah.
Like back when they had videotapes, like
Yeah, you
cassettes.
couldn't rent it.
Like you couldn't rent it. Like you couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
So I never got.
I remember calling all the video stores. You guys have Eraserhead? What?
What?
Never mind.
It's like-
Stupid Blockbuster Video.
It's like when I first got into Poison Elves,
Yeah.
and I was trying to get all the packages, and then I'd go to a comic book convention, like, do you have Poison Elves? And they just look at me like, what the hell are you talking
Is
about?
it
Why
STD?
don't you ask me for
Or
Fantastic
Scud.
Four or Spider-Man?
Scud the Disposable Assassin
Yes.
or Poison Elves, and everybody just looked at me like I was insane.
Correct. Pretty much. Story of our lives.
So what's
Alright.
next?
No,
you
you're
should
next.
probably do another one.
What?
'Cause you have
You
like,
got
I will,
the
no,
stack.
I will
Go,
talk
go,
about it.
go, go.
I'm gonna do 3, and then we'll all do 3.
Go.
I have like 4, but
All right, I'll do 4. But
I don't know.
There you go.
I
Go.
have more than 4.
alright, fine. I read Jupiter's Legacy, Volume 2.
What do you think of that?
I don't know that I've even finished that.
It's pretty darn good. I mean, it's Frank Quitely artwork, so you cannot go wrong with
Yeah.
Frank Quitely.
And Mark
It's
Miller.
pretty much a lot of action, which you can't really go wrong with Mark Miller.
Is that like
when he does a lot
Apollo
of
and
action.
Midnighter almost? It looks like that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
another. This is kind of like, I guess this is Mark Miller's try at like Squadron Supreme, Watchmen, kind of his like post, what do you call it? Post superhero, attempt or whatever. And he does a pretty good job. I really like it. Funny series, like it came out with Jupiter's Legacy Volume 1, and then they came out with Jupiter's.
I don't know, dude.
It says in
I'm
the back
so
here.
confused.
You're confused? Jupiter's Circle.
Jupiter,
Volume 1 and
Jupiter's
2
Circle.
with a different artist so that they could have something while Quitely was finishing out Volume 2 because he's fairly slow, but he's slow because he's awesome. But anyway, and so then they finally came out with Book 2, which tied the story up. So the first book, it's about Jupiter's Legacy. So it's about, there's this group of superheroes back in like the 40s or 50s, right? They became famous and they like started saving the world and they became like celebrities and all that jazz, like we've seen done 100 times, right? Well, Jupiter's Legacy was about their kids, who were a bunch of loafers and didn't quite have the same values as their parents. They were kind of just, you know,
everything's handed to them.
It's kind of like a baby boomers World War II generation versus the kids of the 70s who just kind of crapped into bed or whatever. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. But it's with superheroes, right? And so then Jupiter's Circle went back in time and told a more detailed story about that first group of superheroes, the old people, with a different artist, which I really like that too. That was almost better than Jupiter's Legacy Volume 1. And then Jupiter's Legacy 2 comes back to the present day, you know, gives you that story about what's going on with the kids. And there's, like, basically the superheroes are trying to take over the world and trying to, like, you know, basically take over and make the world the better place, but yet in a forceful way. And then some of the kids have, like, broken off and they said, no, we're going to fight you and we're going to come back and stop you because you can't force feed your doctrine, you know, down the whole world's throat. Even if it's for their own good, you can't. So it's that whole ideology clashing. So you got the kids versus the parents, but then some of the kids are on the parents' side. And then by the end of this book, some of the parents are on the kids' side. So it's like this whole two superhero factions.
Is it over?
Fighting for... So I thought it was over, and as I'm reading it, I'm like, there's like 5 pages left. I'm like, how are they going to wrap this up in like 5 pages? Well, they do. It ends, but then there's also a thing in the back that says, coming soon. Jupiter's Requiem begins 2019, so 2 years away. But quietly slow, so there is going to be more, supposedly.
God, in 2019.
There was a, it's like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no
It's worse than Game of Thrones.
Well, I meant the TV show.
Yeah, maybe.
Because there's rumors now that the final season won't come out until 2019 now.
2019 now?
Yeah.
Ooh. Anyway.
I've heard rumors, I don't know.
Those kids are going to be so old, man.
But,
Brand's
I can't
going to be
remember
like 25.
I can't remember if it was like a, like just a YouTube, like, thing or whatever. I think there was like, it was like this guy... I watched it was almost like a documentary on Quietly.
Yeah.
And it was really freaking cool. But it was during the time that he was drawing. It might have been the first series, I don't remember. But it was kind of like a guy that did like a podcast, but it was like a video podcast. Like he would just go to like people's, like famous artists' houses and just like hang out with them for like a week and just like follow them around and interview them and stuff. But it was really, really cool. I wish I could remember what the hell it was, but... I mean, yeah, he, like, has a house, or a place that he lives, and then he has, like, another, like, an apartment, like, a flat, like, in a city or whatever, that he goes to and works at. Yeah. And, like, he'll even sleep there.
A lot of artists do that.
Like,
they
he'll roll out, like, a little sleeping bag on a cot or whatever and, like, sleep there overnight. But it was really cool to watch, and just kind of, because they would show him, you know, like, working on that. And I think he works digital, too. I think he draws digitally, or at least part of his process is digital, like maybe roughs it digital, and then he prints it out or whatever. But I know I remember seeing him working like on a computer or whatever. But no, it was really cool to like kind of get a.
Well, he has an inker. All that stuff is digitally inked. Like he takes the pencils and they process it digitally somehow to kind of, and they show the process in the back.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but it's pretty interesting. But I guess he actually has a guy who does that. He doesn't do it himself. So it's like a digital inker processor guy. You know, takes his pencils. But it was really good. The story's really cool. I hadn't read volume. I didn't go back and read volume 1 or any of the other stuff before. This had been about a year, and I was able to kind of pick up and have a pretty good idea.
And I know I've read volume 1.
Well, it seems.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sure you let me borrow it because now that I've seen the cover of it or whatever, I'm like, I know this.
It seems weird because like they had the 4 books, and I think like what's the other one that the other artist drew? Jupiter's Circle.
Yeah.
Like I think Jupiter's Circle and Jupiter's Legacy were like coming out at the same time, or they overlapped, or one was late or something. Because I just remember being just like overwhelmed and like confused because I was reading like both of them like at the same time.
Oh yeah,
I don't know that anything ever like I don't remember. Maybe I missed an issue or something, or like I don't know if I ever even finished it. So I mean, I know I haven't finished reading the story.
Well, you should go back and read all of it.
I should.
It works really well as one whole story.
But I remember the first Jupiter's Legacy. Like I remember that quite a bit.
Yeah.
but like the circle and then like 2, I don't remember. Like I don't even know if I ever even read any of 2. Like maybe I was saving them up to get them all or something to try to read them all at once. But
well, I wasn't very excited about Jupiter Circle when it first came out because I was like, really, they're gonna go back? It's a different artist and
Wilfred
it's like,
Torres.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I read, I was like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
You know, it does. The only dig, it does feel a lot like all those other like Supreme Power.
Right.
I mean, it feels very similar to those other books. This concept has kind of been driven into the ground. I guess what elevates this is it moves really good as far as actiony. You know, and then Quietly's artwork and just I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I mean, I know it's similar to all that stuff, but I still really enjoyed it. So I thought they did a very good job on it.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you got a good writer and a good artist. It kind of helps.
Yeah.
Take whatever you've read.
I like Mark Miller. I know a lot of people dig on him, but
I like him too.
All of his stuff he writes, I enjoy. I mean, it's kind of like some of it's kind of like a little popcornish. You know, it's like a popcorn movie sometimes. Yeah. It's not like super deep or but it's all just really entertaining.
No, I like almost all. I think the only stuff I haven't read is the what's the Jesus.
Oh, I've read that Chosen, but now it's called something else. American Jesus. The only thing I never finished was Nemesis.
Oh, I love that. It was only like 4 issues.
Yeah, no, but it was so slow coming out. I just lost interest.
That.
And then I think I forgot to order the trade.
Nemesis is like Batman, but Batman is like a bad guy and like the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Yeah. Just Batman cutting loose. Like just an evil Batman.
What if Batman was the Joker? Wasn't that the tactic?
Probably. Yeah. That makes sense. It sounds right.
I don't know who's next.
All right. I'll do... Okay.
Scott wants you to go.
I cannot believe that you did not buy this book. Shallow and Cowboy.
Dude, the last one was such...
Oh my...
such a disappointment. God, and here's the reason. Okay, so I bought the last one. And it was cool art, but it had no story. It was just him fighting zombies for 4 issues, right? That was fine. But then I went back and I read the trade of the original series. I couldn't really get into it.
Of the original Shallow and Cowboy?
Yeah, the Shallow and Cowboy. I was like, I love the art, but his writing was kind of clunky to me. It just seemed like...
I cannot believe that you're not spending 399 cents just to look at this freaking...
And I may pick up the...
Unbelievable art. There were pages in this thing where I just stopped and looked at it for like...
I'm sure.
10 minutes. Okay, so like, I don't even know that I could really tell you like exactly what's going on in this book, but okay, so like, it's got, okay, do you remember in the, well, I know what this book is about. He does not like Donald Trump at all.
Who does?
So it kind of makes sense. It's called Who Will Stop the Rain? The Rain is Donald Trump, because this book is littered with, pardon my language, but pussy is written everywhere. Grab pussy, cum, cunt, dicks, guns, all kinds of shit. Like if you read, a lot of it takes place like in the city, and it's just littered with like shops and billboards and freaking everything. But like, I'm not a very smart guy. Well, and then even at the end, like the last issue, they have Trump Church. But I figured it out before then. Like I made the connection. Like, I made the connection.
So he kind of beat you over the head with it a little bit?
Yeah, he beat you over the head with it. But, okay, so, like, there's this... I'll try to explain it as best as I... Go ahead. I mean, I'll try to explain it as best as I can. The last issue is basically a fight. It's like that... The other one, like, all 4 issues, sure. Just 1 issue. Well, even 3, like, part of it. But, like, oh, my God, dude. It's so funny. There's, like... He basically takes... There's these 2 dogs, okay? And they have daggers for front feet, for front paws, like their paws are cut off and they have daggers in them. So he grabs these 2 things by the tails and just whips these fucking dogs around and is cutting through this crowd of like 100 people and just slitting their throats and cutting their arms off with 2 dogs with daggers for feet. And I mean, it's just like the zombie issue. But it is so cool, and the art in all 4 issues is just amazing. Just to like his city. I mean, you know Darrow. I mean, this is like top notch freaking Jeff Darrow. I mean, it's insane, like the details in this stuff. I didn't even care what the freaking story is about. I got to the part like issue 3. There's this big giant pig, and his name is like Kong Hog Kong or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this massive thing, and so he has like this huge battle with him, where he's like, just doing kung fu kicks through the air and stuff. I mean, it's just visually that thing is just insane. I mean, it's, oh my gosh. I mean, I love it. It's just, I would love to have like a big oversized hardcover of that, just to look at that art. Because I mean, like I said, I mean, even like I would just sit there. I mean, I would just pore over like the streetscapes and read every single little ad, for everything that is in like all these shops and everything. I mean, I don't know. It's very cool. But the dudes that are driving by in a car in the first one, they're in this at the end.
You told me.
Like they come back in issue 4. But yeah, I don't know.
Why'd you buy the variant covers?
Because that's Gendy Tartovsky.
Of course.
And then the
Gendy
other one
Tartovsky.
is Sergio Aragones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I bought... If the cover was by somebody that I wanted to see, I would buy that cover. But, I mean, the story's cool, but it's just amazing.
It's all about the art.
I mean, it's...
I agree.
And this one, it actually has words. I think that's what you didn't like about the other one, was it had no words. And it was just...
the original series that I read had words, and they were mind-numbing words. I had trouble getting...
Oh, I'm talking about the zombie, Walking Dead.
The one didn't have enough words and no storyline. The other one had too many words.
It had a storyline. It was
no storyline.
It was
kind of had a storyline, but I lost interest because there were too many words telling it to me.
The second, what is it called? The other one.
I don't remember.
It had a storyline. It was him killing zombies for 4 issues.
I understand.
Like, just an endless amount of zombies. And it was all him about how he doesn't like The Walking Dead, I guess.
I guess not.
But yeah, he really doesn't like Trump.
Apparently, each series is about him not liking someone.
Not liking someone. He's a great guy, though, man.
I love Jeff Terror. I have, over there on the top of my bookshelf, had my Shaolin Cowboy. It's back before the series even came out. We met him at Chicago, and he sold me his print.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I bought it from him.
I met him in Chicago when we went to C2E2, and I had him sign.
But the first year we went to Chicago for a comic convention, he was there, and I talked to him, and I bought his print.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's like a silk screen. You know what that is? I'm like, I have no idea.
Nope.
But looks cool. He's like, yeah, this is a new thing I'm working on. I'm like, cool. Y'all buy it. I got sketched from him in San Diego.
You got a sketch?
Yeah. Just a doodle. I would call it a sketch.
Like, did he charge you for it, or did he just do
He
it?
had a
like,
tip jar. He had like a thing for donations or whatever to some charity, and you just put money in there. But you don't tell him how much you put in there, and then you just kind of doodle in your sketchbook.
What did he do it of?
It's like a dinosaur.
Nice.
It's very. I mean, it's really simple, but it's Jeff Darrow.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
I mean, it's not like it's like.
I mean,
it took probably like 3 minutes on it, maybe.
I've talked to Buster Moody because he's a huge Darrow fan.
Yeah, he's got
some, but he's like, I think it was him. I may be speaking. Maybe
it's Buster.
Else.
Buster does have a bunch of Darrow. I know.
Right, but I mean, this Buster was like, I don't think Darrow draws anything that Darrow doesn't want to draw anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it was one year at San Diego. He was like, he's in that booth that he's always in with like Art Adams and that whole little collection.
Yeah.
And his daughter was there, and he was like doing something because he had done some big print for like a video game or something. And I was like, yeah, is he signing now or something? And I don't even know if I had anything from him to sign. But his daughter's like, yeah, he will, but he's kind of in a bad mood right now because he has to draw this thing and he doesn't really want to. But the company who like did the print, like whoever he did work for in the video game, was making him do it. He's like, yeah, they're making him do this, and he doesn't really want to, so he's kind of mad about it. Like, all right, well, I'll just step away.
So there's going to be a picture of a penis and whatever that he's doing there, I'm sure. Yeah, that's right.
He was talking about just in general, like if you wanted to get a sketch from Darrow, it's like you pretty much get whatever he wants to
Correct.
draw.
Yeah, it's not like
you can't walk up and go,
say, can you do me a cable?
Would you do a Wolverine? Like, no, I'm going to draw this little bunny. Japanese bunny thing that I want to draw right now.
Well, that's like when I got it from him at San Diego or wherever it was where he did it in my sketchbook. I think it was San Diego. He like had a tip jar. He's like, yeah, so basically what I'm doing is you put money in the tip jar. You don't tell me how much it is. You just put something in there, and then I'll like do a little doodle in your sketchbook. I was like, all right, cool. Here's $20. Doodle in my sketchbook.
Wow.
So something like that.
Cool.
All right.
I read another.
Man, you're way ahead of me. I haven't even caught up.
Are you still liking it?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay.
It's
I got
great.
another one for you.
Do you really?
Yeah, it
What's
comes
he
out
doing?
monthly.
Come with these things every 2 weeks?
It's monthly.
Jeez,
Every
okay.
month.
I was just over here 2
I
weeks
know,
ago.
but we didn't have a podcast.
I
2 weeks
guess that
before
was what it
Yeah,
was. Okay.
we didn't have one for like a month.
It'll take a hiatus here after 15, I think.
Really? Why is that?
He'll
working
do,
on something
like-
else,
He does
or-
like every like 5 issues. He like puts out a trade paperback and takes
Right.
like a month or two off
Yeah.
Is that what he does?
to catch up. I think
That's kind of what. That's kind of the
the
system
image
now.
system.
The image system.
I mean, even like
Put out a trade, take a break.
like East of West. I mean, they do the same thing. Like almost all of the image books do the same thing. They'll finish their arc, whatever it is, 5 or 6 issues. And
Yeah.
then when the trade comes out, they won't solicit a new single for that month. Usually.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. But this one's all about, if you can guess, Gertie's going through a maze.
Oh yeah, it's like the
Fairyland.
labyrinth thing, right?
It is. It's very labyrinth, and you got the David Bowie goblin kind of person who's got brass balls or something like this.
Oh yeah,
and-
he's got his brass balls
Yeah.
right there.
Yep. And wants to marry her.
What does he get
heroine.
if he marries her?
I have.
What's that?
Why does he want to marry her? I can't remember.
Just because he wants to marry her. I
okay.
don't know, but if she can get to the center of the maze and get the freaking blue balls, then she'll be redeemed and whatever the heck else.
And
But
that's
if
how she becomes good, Gert?
That's right. And if she
Okay.
can't find him, well, then she's got to marry that dude. But what makes it so funny is that as she's going through this labyrinth, every person that she meets, you know,
Wants to marry
like
her.
Labyrinth, you know, movie or whatever, you know, she met things, you know, as she was going along. But in this one, every time she meets somebody, oh, I'll help you, but you've got to marry me, you know? And she's just like, yeah, what the hell? But every time she's doing that, then the freaking, you know, goblin or whatever, the dude that owns the labyrinth's just killing them, you know, all the time in different ways, you know, dropping crap on them, you know, and things of this nature. And she's just like, so that's another proposal I got out of, you know, and just keeps on going along.
Gotcha.
But
That explains issue 15 so much more. I forgot that she became good Gert nowadays.
oh
That's what
yes,
happens in
yes.
15.
So at the end of this, she
I have
becomes
to get
good.
caught up on this because you guys keep talking about it and spoiling every issue.
Oh, that's probably
But
true.
see, I've forgotten what you talked about.
Yeah,
Last
you can
week,
watch movies
yes.
that you've already seen and think you've never seen.
That's
them,
right.
So I'm
Well,
not
speaking of movies, tie in here the movie Labyrinth.
Yes.
I never saw Labyrinth
Wow.
until like a year ago.
find that unlikely, but okay.
I think it came out at a time where I wasn't really into puppets. I guess.
Yeah, it could be. You know.
Good story. I never really saw. I don't think I ever saw Labyrinth all the way through either. To be honest with you, but Christy saw it like a ton of times.
Oh,
so
it's
did
the
my
same
wife.
way.
So it
Barbara's
was
the
somewhere
same way.
in
It's
that.
like one of her favorite
I was
movies.
never into Labyrinth.
She quotes it all the time, and I have no idea what she's talking about.
Yeah.
So I
I
finally
think-
sat down and
I
watched
think I
it.
saw bits and pieces of it. It's really not that good.
Yeah, Brandy loved it as well. So.
It's kind of like what he was saying with Blade Runner, like Dark Crystal. Like Dark Crystal is not a great movie.
It's not. I haven't seen it in a long time. It's like,
Well,
does
I
it
don't know.
hold
I'm
up?
assuming it's not
It
a
doesn't
great
hold
movie.
I don't know.
But it was like
was
like
cool
the
at the
shit
time.
when we were kids.
Oh heck yeah.
So-
Secret of Nim still holds up.
oh yeah,
That's a good flick.
yeah. I agree.
Last Unicorn does not.
I
Really?
believe that one.
I want to watch
Horrible.
Watership Down.
Yeah, I tried to read the book. I didn't get through it. I was reading it to Emma.
Because I haven't seen Watership Down since I was a kid.
All I remember is the bunny eating the ears of the other bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty dark for a
Yeah.
kid's show.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I hate Fairyland.
Nice.
That's another episode or another issue down.
Yes.
I have to start bringing mine in so that because I have the dirty copy.
So what can I
The
talk
dirty
about
copy.
that doesn't spoil
The
anything?
variant covers are F Fairyland.
Oh, they actually say that?
Yeah, it says fuck Fairyland.
No kidding.
Yeah, it doesn't say I
That's
hate
cool.
Fairyland. It says fuck Fairyland.
No kidding. Variant covers, huh?
I didn't get my Savage Dragon because they shipped mine a week early.
You don't read Descender anymore, right?
Oh no!
Oh, this book is finally getting really good, dude. Like stuff is happening.
So I had to wait
Only 23
25 issues for
Yeah,
it
no
to
kidding.
get good.
It's been
23
good,
issues
but it
in.
keeps getting better.
Oh my god.
I-
They're
Jump
doing the Rise of the Robots.
I couldn't do the art, man.
Oh, you didn't like Dustin Wind?
I like Dustin Wind, but
It's
I don't know.
pretty simple though, is it? Well,
It's
wow.
water
Well,
paint.
really.
It's like water
and
paint.
I love watercolor. I don't
Watercolor, sorry. Water paint. it
know.
was
It
water
is
paint.
water paint.
No, it's watercolor. So yeah.
Wow.
I don't-
Anyway, the
People that
idea...
can do that well, it's
It's
It is pretty
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
I don't love watercolor either, to be honest, but I tolerate it for this book because I think it's so good. But the basic, do you know what Descender is about?
No.
Okay, so the basic gist is it's like in the future, and there's all these like little robots, and at some point, this big catastrophe happens. Like these robots or AI or something comes out of space and like just like demolishes a bunch of human civilization type stuff, and then they all disappear again. So the humans overreact and they basically destroy all the robots, and so we're in this like period of like destroying the robots, but they're still trying to figure out what happened and why this thing came out of space and blew a bunch of people away or whatever, you know. And so there's this scientist guy who's like basically is the one who kind of developed robot AI or that went haywire and caused all these issues. Well, anyway, and this what's going on in the book now is this is Tim 21. He's like the boy robot, and one of the characters he was like abandoned on like a colony planet that got wiped out. So he was just there, and he didn't get attacked or killed. So he's like the last living robot boy or whatever, or the last living robot. So he's running around the galaxy and everybody's like chasing him, trying to find him. So it's kind of like a whole saga thing where they're chasing the baby. This time they're chasing like a little boy robot or whatever. But anyway, he finally find a whole nother robot like group civilization. So right now there's this big battle brewing between the robots who have been in hiding, but they have this whole army against the humans, and this boy's kind of caught in the middle. And so it's kind of it's cool. But yeah, it's finally come together because they finally found this robot civilization. They kind of unveiled themselves because they were hiding out like in a moon or something, and they came out, and so now they're kind of fighting. So it's like this is the rise of the robots. It's like a part 2 of 5, so it's like a 5-part sort of series within the series of the robots coming back. And I don't know. Somebody died in this issue, and it was kind of major. So I mean, stuff's happening.
Even if you told me who died, I probably wouldn't even know because I don't remember that book.
You're gonna read this book at some point. I guarantee it.
I don't know, man.
And go, this is the coolest thing ever.
I read Cable. I got caught up on Cable 1 through 4. The relaunch of Cable. Which is going to jump from like what, issue 6 to like 150?
But he's down.
Yeah.
Because they're going to go back to the original.
They can't go any further.
Okay, so, all right, I've always liked Cable.
Why?
You have always liked Cable.
I love Rob Liefeld's artwork early on, and I love Cable. Cable I think is a cool character. I don't know why. Big guns.
Because he's a time traveler.
He's a time traveler. And this series kicks off.
Showing
it's
off my
all
comic knowledge there.
Very good.
Ooh.
It's all time travel. So it starts off, and he's basically.
Look at that cover, though. Ooh.
It starts out in the
Del
first
Keown's
issue,
doing the covers,
and he's like in the Old West, and I'm like, what the hell is Cable doing in the Old West?
Because he can.
Because he can't. Well, he's chasing this bad guy through time, but he doesn't know who it is. So it's kind of a mystery of who the bad guy is. And is what this bad guy does is he's going through time and he's trying to collect like 5 pieces of this ancient sword, I think. Or if he gets all 5 pieces, he puts it together, and I guess he can like rule all time and space, and I don't know. But anyway, it's like an Infinity Gauntlet, but it's a sword. I don't know. But the gist of the story is he's jumping. He's jumping behind, trying to catch up to everybody. And the funny part is, the guy's ahead of him, so he leaves all this future tech, like with the people, to take out Cable because he knows Cable's after him. So he shows up in the Wild West, and all these cowboys have like laser guns and stuff, and so they're all trying to kill Cable. So he'll jump. So the first one's like in the Wild West, and then he jumps, and then he goes like back into like Japan or whatever. And so like all these samurais have like all these laser swords.
Oh jeez!
And so they're trying to kill him, and then he jumps again, and then he's like, where did he go? I think he might have gone back to like the Romans or whatever, and they have like it's just crazy. And so then he ends up in Russia.
Does the cover give it away? Yeah, I don't know. It's the flying.
Incas. He goes back to like the Mayans or whatever.
Okay.
And so they give up. He gives all the Mayans like these bird costumes with like electric wings and stuff. And then the 4th one is Russia. It's like and then he brings in like. Rasputin, I think. Like, so it's like 1919 or whatever, like in Russia. But he finally meets up with the guy, and they have their battle or whatever. But it's not over. I think it'll be a 5-issue arc. But I really liked it. The first couple were Pacheco, which I like Pacheco's art, and then it goes into that Sinar, what's his name, Yardley Senar or whatever. He worked for DC.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I mean, it's just a fun. Obviously, Cable was more of a popcorn movie type thing. Like, you don't get a whole lot of depth. So I mean, it's just kind of like a Terminator action, time travel, fight the bad guys kind of thing. I mean, there's not a whole lot of secrets or subplots to it. I mean, it's straightforward, but it's fun to read. And like I said, I enjoy Cable. I think I enjoy it. I mean, it's a good Cable book, I think. So I had fun with it.
I used to really like Pacheco.
Mm-hmm.
And in the
He's
last few
changed
things
a little
he did,
bit.
I couldn't even tell it was Pacheco.
Right.
Like, I didn't dig it as much. This looks a little more like Pacheco.
Yeah.
It still looks a little off to me from what I like. It seems like he lost his inker. Jesus Marino, I think, used to be the guy who inked him.
Okay.
And ever since some other people have inked him, his art doesn't look...
Yeah.
He doesn't have that same
And you know what?
awesomeness to it. It's like, you wouldn't think an inker made that big of a difference, because you can still kind of see the Pacheco idiosyncrasies, But it's like no one else quite knows how to ink him quite right.
Well, maybe, and that might be it too, but it might be a kind of a thing where maybe he's got to get more mainstream so he can produce faster.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know that he really does, because he can probably do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but maybe, I don't know.
Salvador LaRocca, he's another one who, like, I really dug his early stuff,
And
and it was
he's
kind of
kind of-
manga-ish, and then he's gone to this more, like, photorealistic type
Yeah.
style, which I can't stand.
Yeah. Oh, so you're not a big fan of Greg Land?
Not huge. I used to kind of like his style.
I
I liked
know.
him on Sojourn.
I know. I'm just.
But yeah, but the way that LaRocca changed his style from that more cartoony, stylized to like the more kind of
Yeah.
photorealistic.
No, I know exactly
I just
what
don't
you're
like
saying.
it, and it's like, and that's fine. I mean,
You
artists
could
change
probably
and
look
evolve.
at. You could probably put Pacheco and LaRocca together, and they would probably look almost the same. Like, they wouldn't have their distinct. I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I
because they
kinda
used to have both
noticed that
really
too.
distinct styles, and
Yeah.
now they almost look very homogenized. Almost, you're
Mhm.
right. It is almost. LaRocca's a little more, like I say, when I looked through those, it looked more like Pacheco than the last thing he did. Because he did, I think, that last Captain America run for a few issues, and I was like, I can't even see the Pacheco. You know what I mean? It's like I used to be able to see his stuff. Like I could see it, I know immediately it was Pacheco.
Yeah.
And now that stuff, I was like, I can't even tell it's Pacheco. I don't know what's happening. But then I did a little research. I'm like, oh, this guy used to ink him.
Yeah.
Now
Oh,
this
okay.
guy doesn't ink him anymore. And if you look at everything inked by him, it looks like what I was expecting, and then anything not inked by this guy,
This will
not so much.
maybe blow your mind. So I told you that I was listening to this. It's basically a history of Kirby.
Yeah.
Did you know that when because he went to Marvel, obviously, like in '59,
Yeah.
and he was there for the creation of like '61, '63. He worked there till like 68 or 69, I think, is when he left to go back to DC,
Yeah.
or 70. They said that in that time frame, that when he worked for Marvel, like those 8 or 9 years, he produced 8,000 pages of artwork. He was producing 15 pages of art a week. 15 pages a week. When he left Marvel to go to DC, it was in his contract that he had to deliver 15 pages of artwork a week. Did you imagine that? You can't even get...
He had an inker, though.
Still.
And Vince Coletta was there, like, erasing stuff because he didn't want to ink it off.
Still. 15 pages a week,
Was it Vince Coletta?
man.
No, it was someone else. Was it
Vince,
Vince
I
Coletta?
think it was Vince Coletti.
Yeah.
But that's
So
just
Kirby's
my-
pages had so much detail. The inker would go in there and he'd be like, wow, there's too much stuff to ink it. He would, like, erase parts of it and, like, ink it and, like, take out some of the detail because it was too
Dude.
much.
Even if you're doing, like, breakdowns,
I know.
detailed breakdowns, 15 pages a week?
I agree.
That's freaking insane.
I'm sure he worked a lot.
Oh, he did. They say he worked, sometimes he'd work, like, 12 to 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You can't even get 15 pages a month out of some of these artists nowadays. 15 pages a week.
Well, I was thinking it's because, like, you know, a lot of artists today, like, they ink themselves. Like
Yeah.
Stegman, he inks
Right.
himself
And that takes
know,
double the time.
double the time. And, I mean, it's a lot of the big pincers now, they ink themselves because they want the control.
Yeah.
And so they're producing at probably half the pace.
Right. I don't know. That was just crazy.
They're not
man.
doing 15 pages a week, though.
That was just crazy. I mean, what Byrne was doing, like, what, 2 books a month?
Yeah.
I guess that's But still, that's 2 pages a day, maybe.
Yeah.
20. Well, not even that.
Unless you count the Alpha issue, Snowblind.
Because a comic book was what, 24 pages back then?
Yeah.
So 30 days in a month.
Now, Fantastic Four, though, because I was reading that omnibus, those Fantastic Fours, they were only like, maybe it wasn't Fantastic Four.
20 pages.
The X-Men book.
Yeah.
It was bi-monthly, and they were only like 16-page stories in those early X-Men, the Byrne and Claremont run.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're only like 16 pages, and it was like bi-monthly, like it came out every 2 months. Interesting. And he had an inker too. He must have been drawing a lot of other stuff.
I don't know, that just blew me away, though, 15 pages a week.
Yeah. Don't talk with your mouth. Exactly. Alright, I guess I only got one left. See, this is why I didn't want to go. Galacticon.
Thank you.
Did you buy this?
Mm-hmm.
Did you read it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, no.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep buying it. I think I'm dropping it. It was okay. It's
I
by your
love-
dude, Steve
I
Mannion.
love Steve Mannion, dude.
But I'd seen he did that Fearless Dawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the art kind of looks like what I remember from that. Not that I ever read Fearless Dawn, but I remember seeing the art. But yeah, this story's, it's okay. It's just kind of
The only reason I bought that book was
because it was Steve Mannion. Yeah. I just bought it because that cover is really cool.
It is a cool cover.
It's called Galacticon. It looks like a science fiction-y kind of space opera type thing, which I always dig. But it's okay. It's about this space hero. You know, he's like a celebrity, and he like goes on missions and rescues. Well, he rescues this girl, and they get married. Well, now they're getting a divorce, and it's all like in the papers and the newspapers and everything of what they have in the future. That's newspapers. I don't know, on the feed or whatever. And it's all about like their divorce proceedings, like the actual court battle and stuff. Is that what you're expecting? Not really what I was looking for.
I wasn't expecting anything except awesome Steve Mannion art.
Yeah, well, if you like awesome Steve Mannion art about this dude getting a divorce in divorce court, then this is the book for you. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily bad. You can do that well, and the art is still cool. But I was expecting a little more kind of action-y, science fiction adventure type stuff, not necessarily a satirical take on, you know, celebrities and space, you know, people and whatever. So, but I mean, maybe the next issue it goes like more your traditional kind of, you know, thing. But
I love that Fearless Dawn. Just it's like all kind of like World War II, like the whole like bad guy Nazi stuff, you know. Like,
yeah.
And I love that series. I just like that period. Like it's almost like an Indiana Jones kind of feel, you know. But anyway, I mean, I think his art in those books are insanely crazy. I love his stuff. But yeah,
so
this doesn't look like.
So this is another book by Albatross Press. So Eric Powell, did you ever read The Goon?
Yes.
He's the guy who writes and draws The Goon. He started his own publishing company, Albatross, and he published this Galactatron, and he helped write it. And this one he writes and draws by himself. It's his post-Goon series called Hillbilly. So far, I've liked it okay. It's not quite what I was looking for. It's been really late. This issue I was a little disappointed with because, okay, it starts out, you got, you know, story, cool. And then he just goes on this, he drinks some soup from some Indian. Then it goes
Ooh, it's 3D.
Then it goes 3D, but he didn't give me any 3D glasses. I don't have any 3D glasses lying around. So I just read it like this.
It's got a little thing in the top.
It does, the corner there.
And there's not a lot of words. It's just like, it will devour the world. And it's really cool art, but I think it's better in 3D, which I
Don't you have a pair of 3D glasses with Jim Rugg's thing?
Oh, I might. I didn't think about looking there. I'll have to dig those
Whatever
out
book
and see.
that was.
But that's like the whole story. It just goes into this 3D world. He like gets his special axe that he has, and then goes out, and there's not a lot of words. I don't know. For as long as we had to wait on it, I didn't feel like it had a lot of content. But that's the problem that I'm having with Hillbilly is they're all like sort of one and done stories. Like they're done in this format where you got this hillbilly guy, and he's like talking to somebody, and he's telling a story, and then it flashes back to this little snippet of a story, like a tale. You know, it's kind of like that kind of campfire tale, you know, type of thing to it. And every issue's that way. So you like see the character, he's talking to somebody, he tells a tale, they flash back and you see the tale. And then there's only like 10 pages left for the actual, you know, story he's telling, because all the rest is like your opening and closing sequences. And I don't know what and they're all one and done. So I'm not sure how much of an interesting story you can necessarily tell. If you like that kind of spooky, folktale type of like things, like in a little 10-page thing, then I guess that's for you. That's not really what I really wanted from Eric Powell. After reading The Goon, I really wanted more of a continuing narrative type thing.
I'm a little disappointed that he didn't include 3D glasses.
Me
right?
too.
I mean, it's $3.99.
Why do you do a 3D book and then not give glasses?
I think he talked about it like on his Facebook page or something. I think he said he was just trying to find a way to kind of punch it up or make it different.
I understand.
Probably because of the lack of words.
Well, I understand that.
Or story.
But who has 3D glasses?
Most people do.
No, they don't.
I
do.
do. Most of the time you throw them away.
I usually throw them away.
Exactly.
I don't. I put them in a little bag with the comic
Anyway.
book.
So yeah, 2 kind of misses from Albatross this month. But I'll still buy Hillbilly because I think it's only 10 issues. I'm already in issue 7. But I think I'm out of Galactatron, even though I've already pre-ordered probably 2 and 3.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been kind of a disappointing. It was kind of disappointing because like there was that, and then I forgot to order Lark's Killer #1, and I could have sworn I freaking ordered. I even went back and looked at my order, and I did it. I'm like, how is that possible? Because I ordered 2 and 3. So I'm like, and it's only 7 issues. So I'm like, by the time I dig up a #1, it's going to cost me. So I'll just buy the trade. I think.
Do you remember
just cutting bait
when I kind of went on that rant about them canceling that book?
The Red Dawn or Red Rain?
No. Like DCBS canceled the book that I wasn't going to
DCBS,
like
yeah.
5.
Mm-hmm.
I already have it.
Oh.
Like, I have a copy of #5.
Yeah, they've been doing some weird stuff.
Series?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like a different cover or if I double ordered it. I don't know, man.
Okay. They've done some weird stuff. Here's the thing that happened with me with the ordering. So I ordered Savage Dragon, let's say 226 or something, right? And then it was on the next previews, was listed on 226 on their site. And I go back and look in the order, and I say, oh, look, I ordered it last month. I'm not going to order it this month, right? So I don't order it, put the order in, everything. Then I get an email from them saying, yeah, we're canceling your order for 226 because they reoffered it this month. I'm like, but I didn't order it because I had it ordered before.
Right.
Why don't you just transfer my order to this month? I just ordered it. Keep it on my order. Don't cancel it.
You know what I think happened?
WTF?
Because they have, like, a lot of books now. No, I understand, and I'm a little frustrated, too.
It's like, why are you canceling it and telling me to reorder it? I already ordered it. I didn't order it because I already had it ordered.
Right. Well, they send you emails, and they say, no.
But they sent it to me after I already put my order in. I think I could still go in and change it, though.
Gotcha.
But by that time, I was out.
But they do send a bunch of emails that go, this book has been canceled and resolicited in this previews. But what I have a problem with, what irritates me.
What is that?
Some of these books will come with like 3 or 4 different covers, right?
Yeah.
Like you can order A, B, C, or D.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I thought that's what had happened. I didn't even remember I didn't even remember the name of the series of the book that I got so pissed off about. Like at this moment, I can't think of it. But anyway,
I thought it was God Country.
Yeah, God Country. Okay, so like say that I ordered in the previews, I ordered God Country cover C. Okay, it's not obvious to them. Maybe I should send them an email and just say, hey, but I don't really give a crap what cover I get. I just want to read the fucking story. I picked C because it looked like the coolest in the previews.
But you'll happily take A or B.
But I'll happily take A or B rather than not get the book. So they could even just send me an email and go, hey, for some reason, cover C got canceled or we sold out of it. We could give you a cover A or a cover B. Would you be interested in those? You know what I mean?
But no, they just canceled.
Ironically, we used to run the mail order comic book series, and that's what we would do.
We did.
If there was an issue, we would email the person and say, what do you prefer?
Exactly.
Here's the options that you have.
Yes, I understand. And so that irritates me. It's like, well, I don't care. But yeah, it would just seem like, instead of just send you an email and go, hey, this book got canceled. Like, okay, or this issue is sold out. Okay, do I have an option of that issue but a different cover?
Yes.
That would be nice.
Alright, I think so. I only have 1 book left.
Oh.
What?
Well, all this other stuff I can't talk about because Don reads it all, and I don't want to spoil anything for him. Not that he would remember, because he sees movies and then forgets 20
That's true. See, should be good.
Why are you buying Astonishing
my
X-Men?
God. Well, look who's the creators.
Chung.
Fuck yeah.
I do like Jim Chung, but he's only been on it for like 3 issues, if that.
I don't care. Soul Charles Soule is writing it, and
Yeah,
Jim
he's
Chung
alright.
is drawing it. I like Soule.
Astonishing X-Men #1.
So this
Wow.
is like
Cool.
it's got Phantom X and
Yeah.
Archangel.
It's got
So it's almost Uncanny X-Force,
yeah,
but with Bishop and Mystique and Rogue.
yeah,
And Gambit.
Gambit,
Okay.
Phantom X, Angel. Okay, so this book it's got Old Man Logan.
Is Phantom X still annoying like he is in every other book I've ever
Yeah.
read? Okay, great.
He's teamed up with
Is
Gambit
that
though.
Psylocke or something? Who's the one with this?
Psylocke, yeah.
Oh yes.
The Asian
Okay.
version of Psylocke.
So this is what you're on low power.
She used to be British.
You're on 20% battery remaining.
I have it plugged in.
I don't know
It
what's
came
going
out.
on. It popped up on the screen. All right, so first of all, the art is insanely
Well, it's Jim
good
Chung.
and crazy, and it's got really cool X-Men characters. Like I don't know when I remember reading Bishop, but I
Yeah.
like having Bishop in this book. Okay, so like it starts out and there's a bunch of psychic people that are getting attacked.
Diodato does #2. Chung only did one issue.
I guess
I like Diodato.
Diodato was good.
Sorry, go ahead and do your story.
All right, so the whole first issue is the team kind of coming together, coming to Psylocke's rescue because she's getting psychically attacked or whatever. Well, they almost pull like at the end. I think it's at the end of the first issue. And at some point, I think it is. They pull like the Days of Future Past where they lay them all down, and Psylocke is going to send them all into the whatever what do you call that? The astral plane
Okay.
to try to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
They find out it's Amal Farouk, the Shadow King or
Yeah.
whatever.
It's always Amal Farouk.
It is always Amal Farouk in the
Or Apocalypse.
not in the astral plane.
That's true. You never know.
Okay, so but Charles Xavier.
You know who
Professor
I'm
X-
tired of in the X-Men universe?
Who?
Amal Farouk.
But how long's it been since you read a story about Amal Farouk?
If I never read another Amal Farouk story, I'll be just fine.
I just like saying Amal Farouk.
Right?
Anyway, so she does like this. Half of them go into the astral plane, and like half of them stay out. But she's got them all. It's almost like Days of Future Past. But so they go in the big. I can't remember.
Really,
It's a
Days
big
of Future-
cliffhanger.
Past ain't going to astral plane. They went to the future. In the past.
I know, but it's like
Okay,
the visual of when
Gotcha.
she sends them.
I get it.
But Professor X is in the astral plane, and he's having
He's dead.
chess. That's what I thought.
Okay.
How can he be dead and be on the astral plane having like a chess battle, like a
With
Mojo
Amal
versus
Farouk?
with Amal Farouk with the X-Men or
I
the
don't
the telepaths on Earth?
Maybe they went
He's
back
dead.
because they went back in time too. Is that what happened? They went back in
I
time.
don't know. It didn't say that.
Okay. Anyway,
But like Professor X is there, and I'm like, I thought he was dead.
I thought he was.
I think I'm way behind on my X-Men. Maybe he came back and I just don't know. I don't know. But anyway, I like the team. I like the Chung art. I'll live with Diodato if I have to.
Yeah.
Because Diodato's cool. But that first issue, man, the art's just insane. The way they come together.
Do you buy
The
this
team
one?
comes together. Now, he doesn't buy any X-Men.
I don't buy any Marvel.
No Marvel. You
But,
just read it online.
Yeah.
So you can read this one online.
6 months after it comes out.
6 months.
But yeah, I wasn't
It's about the lag.
that into... I kind of backed off of the whole X-Men reboot. I mean, I buy the 2 X-Men books.
I backed off. I'm down to like 4 books, Scott. I'm only buying 4 X-Men books.
But I'm
way
not
down.
buying the...
I got Cable, Astonishing
X-Factor.
X-Men, X-Men Gold, X-Men Blue.
I don't really consider Cable. Well,
Did you
I guess
say
I
you don't
do.
consider Cable X-Men?
I did.
Oh my god.
Give me.
You've been completely brainwashed.
Give me that book.
Cable's not an X-Men book.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I mean, if you said Deadpool, I might.
I
give it to
said
you.
that wrong, but okay. So like, right now they have X-Men Gold, X-Men Blue, Weapon X, All New Wolverine,
Oh, you still buying
Generation
Wolverine?
X, Jean Grey, Cable, Iceman, Old Man Logan, and Astonishing X-Men.
You're buying Old Man Logan, aren't you?
Well, hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
But
you're buying
I'm
like
not
5.
buying. I'm not buying Weapon X. I'm not buying All New Wolverine. I'm not buying Generation X. I'm not buying Jean Grey. I'm not buying Iceman.
So you're only buying 5 of the 10
I'm
books.
only buying 5 of the 10
Okay,
books,
you
so
way
I've
backed
cut
off.
back.
Good job, man.
I have.
If they put out 20, could they get you to buy 2?
It depends on what they are.
Because
and
that's
who-
their pretty much their strategy. at
It
this point.
depends on what they are and who the creative team
They're
is.
like, all right, so we got this Don guy. If we put out
The only
whatever
reason-
we put out, he'll only buy half.
The only reason I bought Astonishing
it's down to
X-Men,
5. If we put out 20, he'll buy 10.
I was going to pass on Astonishing X-Men until I saw that Jim Chung was going to draw it.
The first issue.
I didn't know that.
That's how they get you. Like,
I
look,
know.
look, Jim Jones drawing this. You got to buy. Oh yeah, I'm buying that.
Well,
5 issues later, you got some Brazilian you never even heard of drawing.
I know.
I'm like, who is this guy?
And if it's not good, I'll drop it.
They still got you.
After
That's why their
Well, I know,
series
but-
go from 100,000 the first issue. By issue 5, they're down to like 20. It's like, well, no, what happened?
Well, no, but
You know what? They should try to keep the same
They
artist
double-
on a book and see what happens.
They
if they
can't.
have the same degradation of sales or not.
They can't do that though because they double ship everything. This art Jim Chung cannot draw 2 books a month. Then they would have to. I understand the solution. They would have to not double ship
Maybe
everything,
don't double ship
which I
everything.
would be fine with.
I know you would, but that would have their revenue. It's like when you get like a raise at work, and then you expand your lifestyle to spend that raise, even though so after 20 years getting raises, you're making twice what you used to make. I know there's some inflation there too, whatever. But it's like at one point you're getting Y with half your salary, and you were fine. Now you've got twice your salary. And you're like, I gotta get by with half my salary. I don't know how I even did that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Marvel. They're double shipping everything, so now they're like bringing all this revenue. It's like we can half our revenue. We have some way to keep shipping this many books to keep revenue up. Otherwise, the investors would be like, what happened?
Yeah, I get it. All
Oh my god.
You have one more?
One more. Yeah.
I've got 3 but I'll just. Okay, so the fall and rise of Captain Atom. I've always liked Captain Atom. I liked is it Pat Broderick, I think is his name. He drew the one from the 80s or whatever. I love that series.
He was so much better in the JL Europe.
Yeah.
As a supporting character. I never thought he could have his own book. But what
He had his own book for 60 issues.
That's kind of a cool
I never
cover.
thought he
And it
could
was
really
pretty
support
cool.
it.
I don't know. I've always liked Captain Atom. So this is a 6-issue miniseries, and it starts out it's a time travel book too.
Here's there's little spoilers there.
It starts out in the
Somebody's dead.
future. I mean, in the present, and the present is 2012, which I didn't get. So it starts 4 years
Cool.
ago.
I'm not really interested in the book, so if you could just streamline it.
Okay.
Cool.
So he's
Golly.
basically Captain Atom is
It starts off in the past.
He's
But
basically Dr. Manhattan.
he's a
right?
nuclear reactor.
Yeah, he's
Like
Dr.
an
Dr.
atomic
Manhattan.
reactor. And so
Isn't that who Dr. Manhattan was originally going to be, Captain Atom?
probably.
Because they were going to use, wasn't he an old Charlton character? And they were going to use the Charlton characters.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Dr. Manhattan is Captain Atom.
Captain Atom.
Wow.
So
A little bit of trivia there, huh?
he
Blue Beetle is Owl.
he implodes. He explodes. When he explodes, he goes back in time. So he goes back to the 80, 90, 80s or 90s.
It's like an 80s book.
Probably 90s.
Sweet.
And
Is
then
it going to be numbered to 61? Since
He
it
doesn't
was
know.
known for 60
he
issues?
doesn't know
Oh, wow.
how long he's going to be there, if his powers are going to go away or
There's a
come back
TV
or
series. You ever
whatever.
watched that TV series,
Quantum
Journeyman?
Leap?
Journeyman.
Oh,
No, I didn't.
I did. I actually
That's a
liked
good
that
series.
one. Yes.
Same concept, right? He'd go back in time, and then he didn't know when he was going to go back.
That
So
is
he goes
true.
back in time. He's there for a little while. He gets a job. He meets He meets a woman. They fall in love. They get married. Then he gets zapped away.
Seems like an odd. If he didn't know when he was going to get zapped back, why would he get married? He's like,
Well, he thought he was
at that
gonna
point,
be
he didn't
okay.
know that he was going to get zapped back.
No,
Okay.
but I think in the back of his head, he knew that it could happen, and he was worried about it because he couldn't tell her about it, and he didn't want it, but it didn't.
Why couldn't he tell her? Seems like if you're going to get married, you should give full disclosure.
I know.
Hey, I got these
I
superpowers. I
understand.
came back from the future.
I thought you didn't care about
And
this book,
then you wouldn't be
wanted
getting
me to
married.
sit
Let's get
through it.
married, but just so you know, I might get zapped back. Anytime.
Yeah, and then they think, yes,
So anyway,
balloon, and I
The
ain't
day
not
he
even
gets
getting near
zapped
you.
back, they were gonna go out to dinner, and she was gonna tell him that she was pregnant.
Of course she was.
So he
Because
goes.
that's responsible.
So now he
Get
goes.
your wife pregnant and get zapped back.
He goes into the future, which is our present, which is 2017.
And his wife's dead.
His wife is dead.
Is his son a
She
supervillain?
died in a horrible car accident or something. I don't know. But he didn't know that he has a son because she never told him.
But I'm sure the newspapers, there's birth records.
Well, yeah, but he's not going to go back and.
Is he going to find out what about her life? Like,
Yeah, he
he
found
reads
out
the
that she
obituary,
died.
survived by, and then it lists the son.
It didn't. So anyway, he finds out. He does find out,
Who wrote this?
and then
crap?
he writes Carrie Bates.
Okay.
It may be misremembering. He does eventually find out that he has a son.
Okay, because that seems like that would
He's working with the military has him, and I think they keep it under wraps or whatever, or they don't know or something. I don't know. But anyway, eventually he finds out that he has a son.
Because that is how obituaries work, you know.
He gets in touch with his kid, but he doesn't tell him that he's his dad right away.
Of course not.
Because the kid's like 18 or 19 now.
Apparently
17.
he doesn't tell anybody anything.
He doesn't tell anybody anything. He's like 17 now.
Yeah.
And he had to go live with like his aunt because there was nobody for him to live with when his mom died. And so the kid's kind of like your bitter teenager that hates his
Good
father.
job, Captain Adam.
Because
you screwed that one up.
Him and his wife both think that he just walked away and left them.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
That's why you might tell her.
Abandon them.
And
anyway, I'm done.
That's why you tell the lady from the future, then she leaves a note for her son. He opens like, hey.
They go out, they have ice cream, he takes him in a jet,
married.
And then I don't remember.
Are you
what
making it up
at
this
end.
point, or did that really happen?
No, he did. He met him because the kid was wanted to go into ROTC. So he's a military airplane pilot. So he takes him up in an airplane, and they fly
How many
around.
issues is this?
6.
Is it over?
Yeah.
Is that him and his
That's
son?
how it ended?
No, I don't remember how it ended, so that's where we're going to leave it.
You don't remember
It's
how
the one book that I don't remember.
Wow.
I've done pretty good.
I hear you.
It's a 6-issue miniseries.
I've done like 1,000%.
At least play it off. Be like, why don't we tell you the ending because it'll spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, but you already said you don't remember.
But you already said you
Read
don't
it-
even
Read
remember.
it to the end. Read the last
Opportunity
page.
Read the last page.
See what happens at the end.
Oh my god, I'm not reading the last page.
There's lots of words.
It's like lots of words on
It's
it.
probably leaving
It's
it open
kinda
with
pretty,
the cliffhanger.
It looks like the Justice League though, for whatever reason.
Yeah,
And
he's
it's the
joined
end
the
for
Justice
now.
League.
I think Scott should do it. It's been a while.
Yeah, do one,
What?
Scott.
I only got one left.
I know. I only have one left.
I have 2.
You got tons left.
They will both go fairly fast.
I read
Do not
something-
get interrupted. I
That
gotta,
won't
Damn, look
I
at
gotta
that.
see how this
We're
one
the
ends.
interrupting
That thing is
podcast.
heavy.
I gotta see how this one ends.
Yeah, that's probably true. Invincible Ultimate Collection, Volume 9. 9 years in.
What's that take us to?
Yeah, I don't know
What
what
is
to
it,
happen
issue
now. Does that go to
one?
issue 100?
It does pass issue 100. It goes to
Oh,
like
the big-
106 or something.
That was kind of cheesy, wasn't it? How I did 100. That was a
Yes.
little bit of a trickery.
That was a cop out.
It should go to like 108, shouldn't it?
Was that it? 108?
9 times 12?
I don't know.
I can't add it.
That
102.
sounds good.
What's 9 times 12?
108.
Oh, 108.
Yep.
Bad
Yeah,
math.
108.
108. I apologize. That would be right though, wouldn't it?
That's right. 108.
Yep, 108. But yes, Volume 9. Anyway, so 9 years in, type things.
Does he not have his powers at some point during this?
No, he basically, that was the previous one,
Okay.
which he had the virus or whatever the hell
Yeah,
it is.
so
So
he's got his
he
powers
does
back.
start this one
I think I
without.
read up to the point where he had the virus. Like, that
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
So yes, exactly right. That was where I was, and so I hadn't really read this one. It was all new to me then, but this one he gets his powers back pretty early on. But Dinosaurus or whatever, who he had let out previously, is thinking that, well, this guy really wants to do good. He's just kind of doesn't know how to keep himself, from being evil, I guess, and trying to kill people or whatever to complete his good deeds. So as long as he's got somebody like me to overwatch him, type thing, keep an eye on him, he can be very helpful. Well, of course,
That doesn't
he
work.
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't have his powers. I think in the previous issue he got like sent somewhere, and all this other type of crap, that happens. And he was like in rehab, and who knows whatever the hell else. Well, meanwhile, Dinosaurus has been out on his own, and he's been figuring up crap, and realizes I've got to kill, at least half the population in order to prevent, total destruction of the earth. So he's got some big master plan, to have to melt Greenland, I think, or something like this, and freaking just tear up and make the water table, rise and everything else and kill off a ton of people.
Does he wipe out Las Vegas or something?
He already did that.
Oh, we already did that.
He already did that, and he was
And then-
imprisoned,
and he let him out after he wiped out Las Vegas.
no, Invincible here let him out.
Yes,
Went and
I
actually
know.
broke him out.
Yeah.
Like I said, thinking he could control the guy, and he couldn't, and so it ends up lots of people getting killed, and that's when you get also, of course, the beautiful spread, in there of art there of, what is it, Invincible getting his brains mashed in or something like that. I mean, look at that. Nice blood. And
That was
guts.
like issue 100. It was
You know.
like, look, Invincible is
Invincible.
dead.
100. Ooh, isn't that pretty? So nice eyeballs
How's he coming
squirting
back
out.
from that one?
That's right. And look at him. He split him in half then to boot. And just, how's he come back?
shocked.
Yes.
That's so beautiful.
It is, isn't it? I tell you what, that is something that I really realized as each one of these years go on. I mean, I don't know. It's always been pretty graphic, but it just seemed like this one in particular just really just keeps trying
keeps
to
amping it up.
Yeah, keeps amping it up and amping it up more and more to where
I wish
it's
I was a
just
rich man. I would own some Motley original art.
Right.
overly
Stuff is not cheap.
over the top. That is for dang sure, and it always is. It seems like in these battle scenes and things that they're just going, "Hey, how many body parts can we have flying?" They really have something about eyes popping out too.
Yeah, he
You
does
know?
have his eyes popping.
He does like the eye popping out. I mean, heck, the very first story shows like the bulletproof or something not getting along with his parents, and somebody hits his mom with a freaking frying pan, and the eye pops out. Poof, you know.
Well,
so,
that's what happens.
because I guess that's what happens when you get hit in the head with a frying pan. But anyway, so that was like the very first story, you know, type things, first arc there, and then pretty much the next one, somewhere in there, what's his name, the black dude that can go through multiple dimensions, Anstrom Levy or whatever his name is. That guy comes back and he's ready to take out, you know, Eve, his girlfriend Eve, but Eve convinced him that he's not a bad man and that he shouldn't be trying to chase down Invincible. And then he changes his mind and goes, you know, I'm probably right. But meanwhile, Invincible, you know, comes back trying to attack him, you know, and everything, and says, I just got to kill him because I can't have this hanging over my head. Well, one of the other Invincibles from another dimension ends up taking Angstrom or whatever and takes him to his dimension or his alternate universe, and Invincible, of course, can't let it go and ends up having to follow into that dimension. To hires Robot to try to help him, you know, get into there. And they get there, and of course, you know, things don't go as planned, and this one pretty much ends with Invincible stuck in this other alternate parallel universe or whatever you want to say. I should say.
Is his wife pregnant?
His wife is pregnant and can supposedly
irresponsible superhero get
and that one's funny though because he says there's a part in there in which he talks about we were responsible. How does this happen? You know, whatever the heck else. You know, he goes, I used a condom. You know, and things like this, and they just go, well, we chuck it up to your alien sperm. You know, pretty much. So, so he was trying to be responsible. He just Earth
like
methods.
Captain Adam.
Earth methods just didn't seem to work quite as well for him.
I think I've read that. It all sounds really familiar, but I can't remember where I left off on Invincible.
I mean, that's like
could be, but it's kind of hard to tell
ago.
because bad guys, you know, keep cropping back up, you know, and they do similar things that they did before.
I was thinking the same thing, but as you kept explaining it, I think I remember most of that, but
well, it is.
I'm lost on where I am on.
It is kind of interesting. I mean, I do like Invincible, and I've got to say that Kirkman's writing, you know, and everything. He's got some really good ideas, and the pace of this freaking comic is insane. I mean, there is
always
no time.
happening.
No time to breathe or anything else. I mean, it's just one disaster to the next, to the next, to the next. And you know, there's some downtime in there, but he's very good at just skipping all that type of stuff and get to the points that he wants to go to. And he's got some really great ideas, you know, throughout this whole thing. I mean, the whole what do you call his dad, the Viltrumites or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that type of war, you know, and things, and the fact that those guys are still hanging around and populating the earth, and you know, now he's got things that he's cropping back up about robot character Rex, who's kind of wanting to make the world a better place, but needs a lot of control in order to do it, you know, that type of stuff. And you still have another guy, Thrag, who's out there terrorizing people in the galaxy, and it's always hanging around, and these other little loose ends that he's got, and yet he's still trying to, you know, make things work with Eve and things. And I think that's one of the things I really enjoy though about Invincible. It's not just the one-man show of him, you know. They do a very good job of the ensemble, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot of different characters. You kind of start to care about the different characters, whatever it may be, seeing those types of points of view. I think the whole interaction between him and Eve is good. You know, how the hell does Eve put up with the crap that he's gone all the flipping time and whatever the heck else. And stuff like that. So
you have 10. Right?
I do have 10 and 11.
11. Okay.
So I do have 10 and 11. And the way that this one ended, I pretty much had to immediately pick up 10 and start reading it because I was like, well, how the hell? How's he get out of this, mess or whatever else too? And that's credit to the writing, the pacing, everything else, of that, it keeping me involved, So I gotta say it's good. The art is great.
What is it going to?
So,
140?
144.
4.
It'll be 12.
That's 12.
Yep.
So there's only one
years.
more.
Yeah.
There's only one more book. Yes, one more hardcover. Yes. I think they're currently on issue.
Over?
Yeah.
Well, it's not yet. They're on issue 139. Right.
11 just came out.
Okay.
Like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I really want to own those. I think I need to just start buying like one every month or two, and then just read them as I get them to go back and reread it.
That would be smart.
Well, as I'm reading through these, it's going to be a shame to actually see it end. Type stuff. I think, and as dark as he's kind of gone with this too, I'm a little leery of how it's going to all tie up too. Type things. Because I mean, and you can. I think I read an interview with Kirkman here too, where he basically said they really didn't decide that they were going to end it at 12 years until like year 11. Type stuff, but I almost wonder if he still had some things in the back of his mind that he was doing, because I really feel in this one he's wrapping up loose ends. I mean, type of things, because there's some pretty larger villains that in their time, in this particular arc.
I think at the end of 12 he was going to wrap up the whole Viltrumite storyline with the bad Viltrumites out there and everything. And I guess the way I read it, I was in an interview or something, he said basically, I was talking to Ryan Otley, and we kind of, once we wrapped up the whole Viltrumite thing at the end of this, 144, we were like, that's kind of a good ending. Maybe that's where we should end it. And he's like, I didn't think Ryan would want to, but then I talked to him, he was like, we were both kind of okay with it ending, as opposed to just trying to keep it going forever. Because for the longest time he said he wanted to just keep this book going forever and ever. And at some time pass the reins off to someone else so that he could read it and complain. That Invincible would never do that.
Yes. But he did. I read the same one in which he was basically saying, yes, I wanted to keep this going forever. But then he thought, so much of Invincible was trying to reverse what you thought about superhero comics and things of this nature, putting it on its head, putting it on end, whatever you want to say. That he thought, hey, here's another thing then that we can do. We actually will stop it. We'll actually come to a conclusion. So
it'll be interesting to see what Otley does after that.
Whatever it is, it's going to be awesome.
Well, yeah, I know, but
I think so.
Hope he does like a sword and sorcery thing. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be. Body parts flying everywhere. So, but Invincible. Each one that I read, it just, golly, got to give Kirkman and Otley their more credit, on things for how well they've done making some. Because I'm not a huge superhero guy anyway, in general.
This is like the superhero book for non-superhero.
It really is. Yeah, I think so.
Well, someone we were talking to recently was complaining that the problem with superhero comics is it's kind of like rinse and repeat. How it's just like the same thing, and then they reset it all, and they do the same thing again. Invincible is like the opposite of that. It's like everything has consequences. Things actually happen, and people don't always come back from the dead. And it's like. Stuff happens and actually changes the status quo going forward.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's cool.
It does. But I do, each volume that passes by, I appreciate it more. So that's kind of the disappointment that they're wrapping it up. And it just means that more of those characters, I've got the feeling anyway with the way that they're dropping off that we're going to see a lot more bodies falling before the end of all this. So.
So, cool. I think you're up, Don.
Alright. I got...
Wrap this bad boy up. It's getting late.
Mars Attacks Firstborn.
Oh my gosh!
I've enjoyed the Mars Attacks
Sam
reboot. I debated buying this book when it came out in single issues. I really wanted to get it because it's Sam Keith art.
Isn't it really old?
It's IDW, so it's probably like 4 or 5 years old.
Okay. What made you possessed all of a sudden to read it?
I got it really cheap in a sale or whatever.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I was curious about it anyway because it's Sam Keith, it's Mars Attacks. I got an opportunity to get it fairly cheap. I don't know where I got it, some sale or something. But I don't know. It's a very simple story. I understand what it is and appreciate it for what it is, but it wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. It's basically the Martians attack, and there's this family, a mom and a dad and a daughter, and her uncle. So it's one of obviously the wife or
one of them's
brother. He comes to help them when they attack. The parents get killed, and the little girl, the daughter, because of the trauma of the attack or whatever, she goes blind.
Oh, okay.
So the uncle is holed up in the basement of the house, keeping the girl alive, or just, life. But the twist of this is when the Martians attacked, somehow, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but there's a baby Martian. Mm-hmm. A little baby Martian with a little head dome on. I got it. That the Martians leave behind.
Oh.
And so the little girl thinks it's a baby baby.
Doesn't she feel the globe on its
head?
Yes,
and he told her that he made up some excuse of why that's there, that she was disfigured or something, and so the baby has to have it.
So he's raising a blind girl and a baby Martian in his basement.
But the baby, the girl, the daughter, is basically raising the baby Martian.
Gotcha.
That's like her purpose in life now.
Gotcha.
And so she has like playtime with them. It gets kind of funny. But the thing is, it's like, and they make a big deal about it, like the Martians keep coming back.
Yeah.
Because they're searching for their kid.
Their baby.
Yeah. And so he's holed up, and then there's a neighborhood, there's like a couple kids. Anyway, everything kind of breaks. It happens, the uncle ends up dying. She gets taken in by there's a mom who her husband died, and she has 2 kids, 2 little boys, and she can't deal with the trauma that her husband is gone, so she's got like a half blown out house, and she's still like doing dishes and like cooking dinner and like pretending that everything's okay. So anyway, these whole ragtags of people kind of all get mashed together, and the baby goes back with the aliens at the end, and then they become a new family. The mom takes the daughter. So it's like a kind of like a slice of life kind of thing, but it was really kind of, I don't know, it was just really slow. You know what I mean? Like a really slow burn.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of action. I don't know. It just, I was sitting there reading that thing and looking, and I don't know if this is like, that's crayon, right?
I don't know.
It looks like it's colored with crayon. No, I mean that like in a good way. I mean, I think it's cool. I mean, it looks like crayon.
Or colored pencil.
Or colored pencil or crayon. And I'm like, just looking at that artwork going. It seemed like, I love Sam Keith, but that artwork seems very simplistic, like very streamlined. And I'm like, looking at that thing going, oh my God, this is like crayon or color. I mean, I liked it a lot. Like, I just found myself looking at the art. And like I said, it's kind of a cool story. I mean, I've read it once and I'm good.
Probably not gonna read it.
Like, not gonna read it again. But I mean, it was a cool story.
Unless they come out with Mars Attacks Second Born, you gotta read the first one to remember what happened, because you'll probably forget.
No, I liked it. It was okay.
So this might be for sale at the Comic-Con.
If I had a booth, then it would be.
Finish Six Gun Volume 4.
Is that the last one?
No, there's gonna be at least 2 more.
Really?
Probably.
Wow.
Well, it's 50 issues, but there's like 3
so.
miniseries.
How many does each one of that collect?
This one only goes up to, it has 36 to 41 of the main series, and it has one of the 5-issue miniseries.
Okay.
So they're going to collect the miniseries in here too. So I'm guessing, I was doing the math, I think that's like 17 more issues. So they're either going to make a really big one or a couple smaller ones. Yeah. Unless they have some more stuff I can't find, they're going to mix in. It's kind of an odd mix, so I'm not quite sure how they're going to do it. I was kind of hoping one more, because these things are like $60. So it's like, it'd be totally cool if they could wrap it up in one, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I bought that too, but I think I've only read the first volume.
What?
I've been sitting on 2, 3, and 4.
Wow. So, I really like the Six Gun. The art by Brian Hurt is really, really good. And this is another one series that it seems like it's just action, 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 move, move, move. I mean, there's a story, but it seems like it's just like a big, huge action set piece, and then there's a story kind of interspersed in it, and it's a lot of fun to read. I always really enjoy it. I mean, they have some really interesting framings of the action sequences and stuff. It really does feel like a big action movie to me.
Yeah. Does somebody have all the guns?
I really love the first one.
I think at the end of this one guy has almost all the guns except one. maybe.
Really?
Have you read Six Gun?
I did read the first arc or whatever.
It seemed like
That's what I read,
maybe
the
number
first
2 or 3 it started to kind of lag a little bit, but this one feels like it's really picking up again. He's kind of running towards the end game because it goes to 41, so there's only 9 more issues of the main storyline.
Well, I found that too with Volume 1. I thought it had a beginning, middle, and an end. It kind of, with overall.
Like the first story arc almost felt like could have been the whole series.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they're like, okay, let's keep going, and so they've kind of expanded it, but they've done it in a good way. Yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot going on in this one. I know the 3 kind of main guys, but I kind of forgot about these 2 Indian characters, where they came from, and this African American guy. I kind of remember him, but I don't remember exactly what his purpose was either. So it's one of those things that when you wait a year between reading these big, huge hardcovers, it's like I know the gist, but there's a lot of details that I'm kind of
lacking. I'm waiting for all 6 of them.
That's a great plan, Don. As long as you don't die first. But yeah, so it was really good. A lot of fun. I really like Six Gun. It's like I guess horror western is the technical genre.
Yeah.
But it's really more western than horror, I think. I mean, there's like some zombies and creatures and stuff, but it's not like scary. It's just a lot of action, more like a western. But it's a pretty cool book. I really liked it. The second, it had a miniseries called like The Sons of the Guns, and it's basically about like what happened about these 5 guys or 4 guys who had the guns before the series began. Like the guys who worked for the bad general guy, and so it kind of tells their backstory a little bit. What happened between, before the series started, but after that guy was entombed or whatever it was. So, anyway, really good, really great book.
All right, last book of the night.
The Black Sinister.
Black Sinister. I really like this book. I don't read solicits. I see creators' names and I buy.
Sure.
So I saw, is it
Kari Andrews?
Kari Andrews. I saw Kari Andrews, and I was like, sweet, I love that guy's artwork. I'm like, I'll buy this book. Well, Kari Andrews only wrote it, and this Troy Nixie drew it. I'm really glad I bought it. Troy Nixie's art is really good. I really enjoyed this book. It's a very short book. I think it was like, I was talking to you ahead of the podcast. It was like in Dark Horse Comics Presents or something. It was like done in like 6 or 8 page increments, and there's like 6 chapters, so there's only like 50 pages to the story. But it's basically, the easiest way to explain it is it's like Batman, like a crazy like Batman character who is like the savior of the city, but he does more damage than he does good usually. Like, he doesn't care about the consequences.
Yeah.
He basically is like, wants to do what he wants to do, and if all the citizens die while he's doing what he's doing, he doesn't care. So I mean, it's really just like this character, the Black Sinister. He's like the hero, but he screws everything up as he's doing. He has a butler. There was one scene in there that I thought it kind of encompasses the series, but so like there's this guy, and he's got a hostage like in his apartment, like in an apartment building, and he's like hanging out, and it's a kid, and he's like hanging out the window, and he's like got this gun, and he's like, I want to talk to the mayor. Bring the mayor to me. I need to talk to him. And so Black Sinister like busts in and like ends up killing the kid. And like the dude is like, that was my son. He's like, why did you kill my son? He's like, well, he said, you had him hostage. And he's like, yeah, well, it was just a ruse to try to get the mayor because I wanted to talk to the mayor. So I thought he'd listen or whatever. And so he says something along the lines of, well, that's a terrible, the Black Sinister, he's like, well, that's a terrible tragedy because he's like our future workforce. And we need future workforce people, so we can't survive if we don't have people to work. And so, like, that's his mentality, like, for the book. But, like, so, I think the city is, like, trying to get rid of him, and so, like, the mayor teams up with, like, this other guy, and they bring in, like, this secret weapon. It's, like, this big... There's like cool like creatures and monsters and just crazy stuff, but it's really good. I liked it a lot. It's a fairly quick read, but like I said, the art was awesome. It was just kind of it's not really anything new, but it's kind of new, kind of different. But I don't know. It came out of nowhere. Like I just saw. I mean, I think I bought it because it was Car Unders, but it's a hardcover. It was like $10.
Yeah.
And I got like whatever, 35 or 40%. So I mean, I got it for like $5. I think it might have even been a special. I might have got it for like $5.
Sure.
It was cheap. It was a little hardcover. I didn't know what it was. I just bought it, but I really liked it. It was cool. That would not go for sale. I would keep that one. Cool. So that's a keeper. But yeah, it's cool.
All right, that's all I had.
That's all I got. It is late.
Me
you
too.
Want to take that home and read it. It's a quick read, man.
That's a quick read. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back in 2 weeks, barring any unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, it's just like